The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look at my soul. I've been afraid I would follow alone. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Welcome into a Thursday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Ron Potesta with you alongside Anthony Hartwig for the next 3 hours. We got some stuff to talk
You
about
got us
today.
for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Sit down and listen.
Yeah, we got a couple of things to talk
You got
about.
a captive audience, Ron. For
Captive. They're on the edge of their seat,
Right.
wondering what we're going
What are we
to do.
gonna talk about?
What pop culture reference
Right.
we're going to go.
That's what people come for.
That's where they come for, because it could be for the fact that, I don't know, news breaks today of the OHSAA expanding the football playoffs to 16 teams per region, and that kind of two things about this, and I'll see if you agree with this. Number one, I think the OHSAA heard what most of the coaches had to say in terms of, hey, we don't want to buy. So 16 teams, you don't get a bye. That's number one.
That depends on your definition of a bye, because you're going to be playing a game where you put the hammer down on a 16 seed, and it's true you're playing, but
Well, yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious that you're going to have some ugly games. I mean, let's figure this out. 16 times 4 is 64 teams in each division. Now multiply that out by 7, and you get 448 schools. You can't tell me there's 448 schools that are good enough to compete in a state playoff. So obviously there are going to be some blowouts in the first round of the round of 16 before we get to the semifinals or quarterfinals. But the good news is home field advantage for the higher seed for the first 2 rounds, and then you will go neutral site in the regional semis, regional championship, state semis, and the state championship game, which is to be determined where they're going to play the state championship game. One would hope it would be in Canton at the Hall of Fame Stadium, but we'll see what happens there.
Paul Brown is not a bad safety net.
No, it's not bad.
It
It's
was a
not
pretty
bad.
awesome venue last year.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. Hopefully they can put the state championship game in Canton or Massillon, whatever. The other thing that is interesting is they're going to start the season on August the 20th, or the Friday of August 20th. Actually, the season will officially start August the 19th, because that's the Thursday, and there are some teams that decide that they want to play on Thursday and maybe get some spotlight for themselves. The regular season would come to a close on the 22nd of October, in that vicinity, which would mean the playoffs would start on the 29th of October. 6 weeks in the playoffs, because we've added around, and we're back to where we always were. The season ends the first weekend of December. So it's start the season a little bit earlier. You end the season as you would normally end.
And you
Everything's
still get 10
peachy.
games. Still get 10
and
games.
still get 10 games. And you get extra teams into the playoffs, which means more money for the OHSAA,
Bingo.
which gives, and in some ways, it gives a program the culture of saying, "Hey, we qualified for the playoffs," and this could be a culture change for some teams that never have qualified for the playoffs. And I believe there's only one team in this area that has never qualified for the playoffs. But for any team, the culture change would be phenomenal. So the fact that they're not going to 12 and the upper tier top 4 teams are not going to get a bye, I think everyone should be happy with this.
I think this was inevitable once everyone got in and the OHSA saw how lucrative more playoff teams was. Hey, look at this. We could make more money if there are more playoff teams.
And I still think in the back
Okay.
and Anthony, I still believe this is not going to be the permanent. I still believe that someone down there has looked at what happened this past year, and said, ooh, 8-game regular season. Everyone goes to the playoffs. We can end at the exact same time that a 16-team playoff would be. Why not? And we can make more money this way. I'm not saying it'll happen. I'm just saying that I'm sure someone down there has probably thought about that.
The $OH$AA? I think they might make that happen.
But it's a happy medium, and again, the coaches, they don't get any buys, so nobody gets to gripe.
And the thing about last year is because it wasn't 1 versus 32 usually in the first round.
Yeah.
Because the first 4 teams did get a bye or whatever. We saw some better games in the first round.
I think so.
Because it was like 15 versus 30 or whatever. Teams that were competitive at least. So, I don't know. I think once you set to 16, I think it's an easy step to say everybody. Because what's the difference between everybody and then the 16th?
There's only 24 teams, 25, 26 teams in each region. Right. Okay, so now we're looking at adding 10 more teams or 12 more teams.
And it's always the invite, too. You don't have to come to the playoff.
Yeah. But right now, and I can tell you that this will be, hey, the winner of 1 versus 16 plays the winner of 8 versus 9. And then once you get to the quarterfinals, you know that the top tier is going to include 1, 16, 8, 9, 4, 13, 5, 12 will be the top tier.
These are still going to be based on the computer rankings and not coaches' votes.
Yeah, no, the computer rankings will determine this, not the coaches, which is good. That's the part I love the most, is the computer's going to get the final say on this and not the emotion of a coach that might have an axe to grind with a team or might have some politicking to do, which they're human. They do that. Not all coaches, but some coaches will do that. They're human. The computer doesn't politic. The computer's like, okay, you go here. Well, why am I going here? Because you deserve to go there. So there you go. Top 16 teams go to the playoffs. 1 versus 16, 2 versus 15, 3 versus 14, 4 versus 13. The iconic 5-12 matchup. Do we get an upset like in the NCAA tournament? 5 versus 12. You got to watch out for the 5 versus 12.
The parochial schools in the lower divisions are almost guaranteed a playoff spot now. I don't think there's anything Ursuline could do to get out of the top 16.
I mean, unless they go winless.
Okay, well that
because you can't gain any points by losing,
right,
or by losing a game.
They have one win against a Division I team. It's over. They're in the 16.
Yeah, it's there's a chance of that.
And then imagine if with their schedule they get 16, and they have to play the 1 seed.
There you go.
And they're sitting there like, we're playing Ursuline, who just played like a schedule full of nothing but Division I teams.
Yeah, whose idea was this? Oh, man.
Like, who said it on Wednesday? What did we do to deserve this?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, this goes now.
I think it was Data Ball that said that about one of the tournaments.
I think now you can sit back and justifiably say let's load up our non-conference schedule because I'm going to be in the top 16 with my league. 6 wins should get me in the top 16. So there's now zero excuse for anybody to sit back and go, we're not gonna load up our schedule. You can load your schedule up now because let's be honest.
6-4 is getting into the playoffs.
Let's be honest, and let me go back and now that I'm thinking about this in my brain, which doesn't get used nearly as much as it should. Let me go back into the previous playoff positions, because I'm going to tell you right now, 6 wins should very well get you into a playoff spot. Let's see what we got here. Why are we not getting our football? Am I going somewhere wrong on this? Huh, apparently I am. All right. I'll go another direction on this. But we'll in the next break,
we just took a right turn.
Yeah, we will go into
all that anticipation.
The computer rankings for the last, I don't know, couple of years. Actually, the last time the last time we went into the tournaments in 2019 when everything was somewhat weird or not I'm sorry, somewhat normal. When everything was somewhat normal, here is the week 10 of the computer rankings, and let's go to Division 2 first because that's where our local teams are. All right, so Austintown Fitch finished the season in 2019. They went 5-5. They were number 14 in the computer poll. They were number 14. Boardman finished 3-7. They were number 15 in the computer poll. So they would have qualified for the postseason in 2019. If you go to Division 3, Cheney, which finished the season 6-4, would have qualified for the playoffs at number 15. They would have been the 15 seed in the postseason. They would have qualified. So would have Canfield, who finished 10th. So would have Niles, who finished 11th. Cheney would have finished 15th. So those teams would have qualified for the playoffs. Division 4, Poland was number 2, so they would have been in anyway. Let's see. Mooney would have gone into the playoffs as an 11 seed. The Cardinal Mooney Cardinals, who went 4-6, they would have been an 11 seed in the tournaments. East Liverpool at 14 finished 5-5. They would have gone to the playoffs. Ursuline would have gone to the playoffs at 2-8. 2 wins, 8 losses. Ursuline would have gone to the playoffs as a 16 seed, and they would have had to have played Perry. Not so sure that they would have beaten Perry that year. But they would have gone to the playoffs. And then you look at Division 5. Crestview would have gone to the playoffs. In 2019, the Rebels finished 5-5. They would have gone to the playoffs as the 16 seed, and they would have had to play Kirtland in the first round. Don't know if I would have wanted that. I'm just saying. But yeah, they would have gone to the playoffs in 2016 as a 16 seed in Division 5 with a 5-win team. Essentially, if you finish, depending on how good your league is, if you finish at 500, you're going to the playoffs. If your league is halfway decent, you're going to go to the playoffs with 5 wins. And that's, that may not be with loading up your schedule. Mineral Ridge, who played in the lower tier of the MVAC, went 5-5 in 2019, they would have gone to the playoffs as the 14 seed. So 5-5 can pretty much get you into the postseason. Let's see. Letonia, in 2019, Letonia finished 6-4. They would have gone to the playoffs as the 16 seed in 2019 had they done this. They would have gone to the playoffs as a 16 seed, finishing 6-4. Jackson Milton would have gone to the playoffs as a 15 seed. And Jackson Milton finished with 5 wins that year. So essentially, if you're in a mediocre league, 5 or 6 wins get you into the postseason. Right. If you're in a good league, 4 will get you into the postseason. So, I mean, this is great news for teams that normally don't get into the playoffs, but unfortunately, and again, you're not getting buys, so that helps the coaches. But we're rewarding mediocrity, which I'm not so keen on that.
We might be rewarding some sub-mediocrity because there are going to be under 500 teams that get into the playoffs, and you could argue that 500 is mediocre, and anything below 500 is below mediocre.
Well, I mean, and again, let's also look at the schedule. I mean, if you're playing Murderers Row and you finish 4-6, well, you might be a better team than 4-6. I mean, I guess it depends on which how high up the teams you played, how good these teams are, how far up the food chain you went. If you're let's say you're a D5 school and you schedule D3 and D2 teams, and you finished 4-6 or 3-7, but you got into the playoffs. I don't know if that's mediocre for Division 5 because you scheduled up 1 and 2 divisions. So I guess we'll see what happens. But there may be some 2-8 teams going into the playoffs this year. And again, if you schedule up and you win a couple of games.
I don't know if 2-8 will get you there.
Well, it depends on
unless
who you
your 2 wins are huge.
Yeah, I mean, if you
and then you wonder if you win those 2 games, what are you doing losing the other 8?
Well, that's true. Yeah, that's definitely true. But that's the big news going on, and this was passed this morning by the OHSAA.
Let me remind people as well that the OHSAA is also trying or working on approving a fee for schools to be a member of them.
Yes.
So,
well, that could be a caveat as well.
Money's coming in.
Yeah. Mike Kernan is going to be calling into the show about 1 o'clock. He is the head softball coach at Ursuline. He'll be calling in at 1:15.
Ooh, I can't wait to talk to him about that.
Yeah, 1:15, Mike Kernan will be calling in. And at 2 o'clock this afternoon, Nate Schick from Lakeview will be calling in. And that's a program that is doing reasonably well in the very competitive NE8.
Yeah, they're keeping their heads afloat, and they're going to participate in the Strikeout Cancer Tournament at McCoon Park this weekend. So they have, I think, 3 games between Friday and Saturday at McCoon Park in Canfield. So, they're going strong. They have a couple of really good players that are having good seasons, and they're still a team that I still think that can throw a little bit of a monkey wrench into the NE8 if they can pull off a win against some of these top teams. They almost beat Poland in Game 1, and they still have to play South Ranger and Hubbard. So they can really, now they can be detrimental to South Ranger and Hubbard even trying to chase down Poland. Because they both can't afford another loss in the NE8 if they want to have any hopes of chasing down the Bulldogs.
So, I mean, look, someone has to beat Poland,
right?
And that, I kind of doubt
I
that
get that,
happens now.
But at the same time, if South Ranger or Hubbard want to cling on to hope, they can't afford another loss. So Lakeview can be one of those teams that can kind of swoop in and knock that hope off their shelf.
We are efforting to get Paul Kusick on, the head football coach and athletic director over at Crestview. We're efforting him to get on board, and he will be on board at 12:45 today. So we'll talk with Coach Q.
Confirming.
Yeah, we'll talk with Coach Q over at Crestview at 12:45.
That's how. Welcome to live streaming.
Well, there you go, and we'll get Coach Q's views on the.
Q's views. Got to get him little themes. Maybe we'll have a. Maybe we'll have like a.
Yeah, but
weekly...
that theme sounded an awful lot like Wayne and Garth. That sounded an awful lot like Wayne and Garth there.
I don't even know what that is.
Wayne and Garth?
No, you.
Oh, come on, the Wayne's World.
Oh, Wayne's World. Okay.
Yeah. Q's views.
Okay. You should have said Wayne's World.
I couldn't remember the term Wayne's World, so that was a kind of a pop culture reference.
Yeah,
Not really, but kind of, sort of pop culture. So we'll get Coach Kusick on at 12:45, and again, the OHSAA deciding to up the ante in terms of football playoffs. Now we got 16 teams in each region, home field advantage for potentially for the top 4 seeds in the first 2 rounds of the tournament. As long as you stay afloat in round 1, you get home field advantage in round number 2. So. It could be very positive for teams that finish in the top 4. And again, if you have a program that doesn't really have a what's the word I'm looking for? Tradition of getting into the postseason. The bar, I don't want to say the bar's lowered, but it has been, even though it sounds kind of crass for me to say that, but it's true. I mean, the bar's been lowered, and I don't want to mean that in a negative way toward the teams that don't consistently get into the postseason. But now you can consistently get into the postseason, top 16. Okay, that's doable. Just win 4 or 5 games, depending on how good your league is, and you may be able to get yourself into the top 16. And for teams that don't normally get into the postseason, this could be huge for that.
It'll be interesting to see how many teams the NE8 can get into the playoffs now.
Oh, I think all of them.
At least 6 or 7.
I would think all of them.
Because they beat each other up.
Yeah.
And so every win in the NE8 is a big win because they're all the Division II teams. Except South Range, and that's even bigger for South Range.
Well, they're not. None of them are Division II.
Hubbard is. Poland is.
Hubbard and Poland are not.
You're thinking basketball.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Hubbard is 3.
They're up the
or
division.
4.
They're up the division run.
Yeah.
I think Hubbard's 3.
I think Hubbard is 3. I think you're right on that.
Poland
is 4. Yeah. Niles is.
I've been basketball and softball for so long. I got to turn back to football.
You're going to turn it back to football.
All these dang divisions. So we need 7 for football.
Well,
can we have 7 divisions for basketball? There are more basketball teams in the state of Ohio than football teams.
Well, yeah, because
more schools play basketball.
Yes, because
so maybe we should have one more division in basketball. That's a discussion for a later date. But
what
would you think about a Division 5 in basketball?
I would think if you're going to do that, I would think that you have to take the very small Division 1 teams and move them down to Division 2.
Like Canfield.
Yeah, the very small Division 2 teams down to Division 3 and so on and so on. That would make things entertaining, to say the least. Could you imagine Boardman in the Division 2 playoffs? And then you'd have to move the D2 playoffs. Because you can't put a Division II tournament in Boardman.
You just put Boardman in the Warren Harding district, right?
You can't do that. Well, I mean, look, everything is convoluted anyway. Now that with the supersize me without the soda, because nobody likes that. Supersize
what do you mean no one likes the soda?
Well, I mean, it's not good for you.
Sorry about it.
Yeah, I know. Well, you're getting your sugar high over there with that.
Sorry about it.
It's all good. But with the supersized district tournaments now, all bets are off. I mean, they've pretty much said home field advantage, or in this case, home court advantage for everyone, all the way to the district finals. I don't know if that's going to remain in play when we get back to normal.
I'm torn because I love the atmosphere that one spot brings. I love tournament at Struthers Fieldhouse just feels right. But the other part of me kind of likes seeing the 1 seed be able to host a district championship and being able to say, we had a good enough season that we now get to host the district championship and we get to cut down our own nets if we win. And then the other team gets to say, we get to cut down your nets if we beat you. Like, that's the ultimate.
Yeah, there's an
that's
interesting.
the ultimate jab.
Yeah.
You know, right to the hearts of the other team.
There's an interesting part in that is somewhat intriguing, but I mean, I think we can have the best of both worlds and have the Super Size Me 2 district tournaments go on and on until you get to the district semifinals, and then move both tournaments into one spot and sit back and go, okay, doubleheader one night, doubleheader the next night. Now you get to the district finals. You get a single game to determine the district champion from the one district on one night, another district championship on another night. So you're essentially putting your double district championships at one place.
But the OHSA will never go for that.
For 4 nights.
Because then you pay one price for both games, and they're not making as much money.
Well, I understand that.
So that'll never
in a perfect
happen.
world, that's what you would do. But I'm sure that's because of the fact that you would have to pay a serious amount of coin, to rent the place out. You would probably wind up saying, okay, we'll do this for 3 nights instead of 4, and we'll have the doubleheader district championship. You're playing game 1, you're playing game 2, and then that's that. Just have it on a Thursday. Here's your first district doubleheader semifinals. Friday, here's your second district doubleheader semifinals. And Saturday, or Wednesday, Thursday, everyone takes a day off, and then your district championship doubleheader on Saturday. So do it that way. All I know is it would be fun if you had the districts in one place. But I also understand from your perspective, because it is kind of juicy, if you have a team that has home field or home court advantage, and then the Warren JFKs of the world come into your place and
rock the world
and say, we're going to cut your nets down. We're going to take your nets, and we're going to take the trophy you thought you were going to have, and oh well. So I mean, there's something interesting about that, and where I think you're probably going to continue to see that is the fact that you don't have to pay the rent for one particular place until you get to the regional semifinals. Right now, in a normal world, hopefully we get back to the normal world starting next basketball season. Hopefully we can get back to the Canton Fieldhouse for the regional tournaments for Division 4 and Division 3, and then just go from there, because that's that place is special. It really is, and we need to keep that where it is. But I mean, again, that's basketball. So how do we get the basketball? Oh, that's right. You.
Because I said, let's add a division to basketball.
Yeah.
Because I messed up and thought that Poland was Division 2.
Yeah, exactly.
I was thinking basketball and baseball, softball. And when you first said, no, they aren't, I said, yes, they are, you idiot. I'm thinking, moron. And then the universe slapped me in the face. So
there you go.
Sometimes karma gets you.
Well, look, 16 teams in each region. Now it begs to differ, not just the NEA. Every league around here. How many teams are going to be getting into the postseason from all of our leagues? One would assume we're going to get a ton.
You got to remember, some leagues are going to hurt the teams because they're not going to have a lot of games that give them a lot of computer points. And some leagues don't. Like South Range is sitting really pretty because every team they play is in a higher division than them, except for Jefferson. I think Jefferson is the only Division 5 team in the NEA. Everyone else is 4 or 3 for Hubbard.
Are they redoing this year, or did they do that last year?
Redoing what?
Redid the districts or the regions. I think they did it last year, where everyone was recounted, because it happens every 2 years, and I want to say that last year was the first year they revisited who goes into what district, because they do that every 2 years, and I want to say they did that in an even year. When we get Coach Q on, we'll ask him about that, because it feels like they did that last year.
Do you mean what division they go in?
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like they did that last year because they have to do it every 2 years.
Right.
And you not just the people that are going to
yeah,
your
'cause
school, open enrollment accounts for a little higher percentage. And
Didn't Mooney go into Division 5 last year? Wasn't that they went back in Division 5?
I want to say that was their first year. So So I believe last year was year one of the new formula. So Mooney will be D5 this year for the second year, and then they'll revisit it in 2022 and redistrict or re-regionalize people, if you will. So that'll be an interesting conversation. But again, the OHSAA determining, hey, let's go to the top 16 instead of top 8. And they did hear from the coaches. I believe they did because nobody wants a bye.
A couple weeks ago, the Coaches Association sent out that survey, so it must have come back with a lot of feedback saying that they wanted 16 teams in the playoffs.
Yeah. So,
or it didn't, and the OHSA just said, "Well, I don't care what you think, and we're going to go do 16 anyway."
Well, nobody gets a bye.
We don't really know what the results of that survey were.
Yeah, nobody gets a bye, and that's a beautiful thing. So the OHSAA makes that determination. If you're a top 4 seed, you win the first round, you get a home game the second round, and then in the semifinals, you go to a neutral site, which. Same rules apply. It's just we're adding an extra week into the high school football season. So now instead of 15 games, you're now going 16.
Does that mean like the 2 days in the summer start a little bit earlier too because the season starts earlier now?
I would assume everything stays as is. Okay. Where you would let me get a calendar out. You would start the 2-a-days in the 1st of August. Actually, it would be the 2nd of August because the 2nd is on a Monday. If the season starts on the 19th, which is a Thursday, you could start playing 2 exhibition games the weekend of August 6th and 7th, and the weekend of August 13th and 14th. Or if you just wanted to do one scrimmage and then just get ready for the season, you could do it that way. But one would assume you'd have 2 weekends to scrimmage the opponents of your choice. The August 6th and 7th, which is a Friday and a Saturday, August 13th and 14th, which is a Friday and a Saturday, and then the season would start August the 20th or 19th if you play a Thursday game.
Right. And remember last year, I believe the MVAC started this season because Sebring played on a Thursday to open the season and then the MVAC closed out the season because Springfield was the last state championship.
Yep.
So maybe we'll get one of those deals again this year where a local team opens the high school season in the state of Ohio, and then we have a local team be the nightcap in the state championship games to close out the season.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see now that we have the 16 teams in each region. I'll be curious to see how many teams decide to schedule up and challenge their kids and get ready for the postseason.
But see, that's the thing. Like, you can't change your schedule for this year now. I mean, this year's is already locked in stone.
Well,
so we'll
not necessarily.
See. Isn't it? I mean, I don't know.
Not necessarily. I had a few athletic directors that were scrambling to find playoff games as late scrambling to find regular season games as late as May.
Because someone else backed out, or because, I mean, like, I think they already have a schedule set, right? So if someone backs out, then you're going to scramble, of course. But they already have. Most of the schools, I would imagine, at this point have your schedule for football set.
I would think most teams do, but I would think that there are some teams that are probably working on maybe 1 or 2 opponents.
And I don't know if you can listen, be like sitting here in April and be like, "Ooh, they just said 16 games. Well, you know what? We're not going to play you guys anymore. We're going to go look for a better opponent." I mean, that might rub those people.
I think it would rub a lot of people the wrong way.
You might burn some bridges with the school that you
could
out.
You could. I definitely think you could. But
and then, rules reverse really quick and programs can change. So if all of a sudden that team in 5 years is good and you're not, they're going to do the same thing to you.
Well, yeah, it's karma has a way of catching up to you. I have found that out, that karma most definitely has a way to catch up. So I'll be curious to see how this. Maybe not this year, but the next football season. Knowing now that there's a 16-team playoff, I'll be curious to see how many teams decide to roll the dice a little bit more than they would normally do in an 8-team playoff format. So, like I said, you're going to have a lot of sub-500 teams now get into the playoffs.
I think so.
A lot more sub-500 teams get into the postseason. I swear I didn't do it.
That's not a police siren.
No. Well, we didn't say anything off key. So why are they going after us? I mean,
Whatever you do, don't open that drawer over there. You didn't see anything, Ron.
Nope, didn't see a thing.
I did not see anything.
I know nothing.
I know nothing.
There's our pop culture reference. Sergeant Schultz, beautiful show. All right, 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business. Surprise, surprise, no baseball, no softball yesterday.
Oof.
Gee, what a shock. It had nothing to do with the fact that it snowed and it was cold.
I don't know how many games are getting canceled today, but I know the game that I was scheduled to be at did get canceled. Boardman hosting Poland because of it's just cold. It's cold right now. It's really cold.
Yeah, it's miserable.
It's supposed to be like 45 by 5 o'clock, but I bet right now, it's not even. My phone still says 39 as of now. That's too cold to go out and play softball. I ain't about that life.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I'm not feeling baseball at 40 degrees.
But I will say, if they had a game, I would be there because that's what YSN does. We bundle up so the fans don't have to. That's why you love us.
What are you, a walking billboard? That is the ultimate saying. We bundle up so you don't have to.
Working on our commercials.
There you go.
For the next winter, even though basketball is an indoor sport, thank God.
Yeah, no kidding.
But how about next week, though? Tuesday 81 and Wednesday 81.
Beautiful. Cha-ching.
Go.
All right. I'm digging that.
Back to 80s. I could live in the 80s.
Okay, I
not the decade, the temperature.
Well,
the decade was a little.
The decade was okay. The music sucked.
Hey,
it did. The
do that again.
Synthesizers. Yeah. The synthesizers that sounded like
garbage. Was that a synthesizer, or was that a sound like you were starting to?
You're starting to.
Some drill is what it is.
Well, whatever. I mean,
there's some awesome stuff in the 80s for music. Okay, Bon Jovi.
I'll give you that.
REO Speedwagon.
They were more 70s.
Jefferson Starship.
They were more 70s.
Okay, but they released a lot of songs in the 80s.
Yeah, okay.
Come on. Now I'm blanking on 80 songs.
Prince, Michael Jackson.
Well, I was never a big fan of Michael Jackson's music. But I did like the song he made for Free Willy.
The perhaps the best name ever for a band, Oingo Boingo. California-based band that was in a lot of the 80s movies. The typical, the Molly Ringwald type
Breakfast
of movies.
Club?
Yeah, Oingo Boingo was the soundtrack for 16 Candles. I think they had a song in the Breakfast Club. I'm not 100% sure. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I think Oingo Boingo was in that.
The Power of Love, the Huey and the
there you go. There you go. I will say
that's not 80s though.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High was one of my favorite movies, and it came out in '82.
We're really going off into pop culture now, just because I dropped one little thing about the 80s decade.
Yeah,
Here we
go. Yeah, there you go.
Back to the Future.
Yeah, 85. Yeah, the first one, 85.
Well, listen to this. Hey, you know that terrible music you've been looking for?
Chuck!
Chuck!
Chuck! This is your cousin! All right, 330-886-0813.
Never gonna let you down.
Oh, God.
That was an 80s song. That's good 80s music right there.
Just kill me now.
Les Mis was premiered in the 80s.
Did it?
Yeah, in the West End.
Okay.
That's some good musical stuff. If
It wasn't bad.
If you like musical theater.
Phantom of the Opera, wasn't that? Or was that?
Yeah, that
70s?
was in the 80s too, and that
Okay.
was in that premiered in America, of course.
Yeah. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline open for business. We just got our theater on. 330.
Thetra.
Yeah.
Thetra.
330-886-0813. Jazz hands.
If you want to spell it like a sophisticated person, Thetra.
Yeah. Theatra.
Theatra. Let's take a break. I think we need it.
We need to take a break. Oh, God. How did this happen? How did this happen, Anthony? We're talking sports, and all of a sudden the show went.
Marty, I gotta tell you something, Marty. I've been to the future, Marty. It's not good.
It's not good. I've been to the future. The last 5 minutes of the show off the rails. All right, we'll take a timeout. Paul Kusick, the head coach of the Salem Quakers, will hopefully try to save this show on a Thursday edition
Q's
of Running
News.
Points. Q's News. Football talk. It's coming up next. Stick around.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Hi, this is Jim Myers with Myers Family Insurance, your local Medicare and retirement resource. We're excited to have sports back. Whether you're on the field or cheering from the stands, sports unifies communities and brings hope for the future. We're all one team working together. At Myers Family Insurance, we know the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Your first and last stop with your tax return should be with me, Tracy Bryden at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. No other dealer goes the extra mile to bring you the largest selection of vehicles at one convenient location. With guaranteed credit approval, I will find you the right vehicle and the right financing options for you. I am ready to go the extra mile to show you why no other dealer sells more cars, finances more, and gets you more for your refund than Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Points, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. We're on Potesta with you, Anthony Hartwig, in his Royals gear.
Got the gold on today.
Yeah, you get the gold on. Wow, I mean, they're the gold standard of the AL Central right now. They're leading the division.
Thank God.
I don't know how long that's going to last, but they are leading the division, and that's a beautiful thing.
A few months, Ron.
If you're a Kansas City fan, well,
a few months.
The way the Indians are playing, although they are playing a team that sucks worse than them, and that would be the 6-11 Yankees starting tonight. Boy, are they bad. I saw them play last night against Atlanta. I was like, this isn't going to last.
We have some on the line.
Yeah, this cannot possibly last because that team can't hit worth a hill of beans. I'll tell you one coach that loves to hit, and he hits better than a hill of beans. His team does. That would be Crestview Rebels coach Paul Kusick, who joins us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Coach Q, how are you today?
Hey guys, how you doing?
I'm good. All right, so the OHSAA this morning comes out with the expanded football playoffs, where instead of the top 12 teams, which would have resulted in a bye, nobody gets a bye now. Now we're talking top 16 teams. From the standpoint of not getting a bye, is this a good move for the OHSAA?
Well, me personally, I do not like byes. We've had some experience with byes, and it is tough to get through a week with high school kids not wanting, not having a game, trying to prepare them, and you do come out stale. Now, I don't know how other coaches feel about it, but not having a bye for us, I like. But now I got to, it's just tough getting used to 16 teams now. That's a new number.
Yeah, and now, me and Ron talked about it. The fear of scheduling big non-conference games kind of goes away because all of a sudden you don't have to have a 7-3 or a 6-4 record anymore to make the playoffs. You can go schedule the big teams, win your league, and have 5-5, 6-4. That could get you in. So do you think we'll see more and more teams a little bit more willing to go schedule big non-conference games in the early weeks of the season?
I'm not sure that teams will want to do that. It is very difficult, especially when you're looking at, what kind of player numbers does your program have? Who are you going to play back to back? If I play too tough of a non-conference schedule, am I beat up to start the league schedule? So there's all kinds of things like that. And, that there's a lot that goes into it. And, so I think we are going to lose some of those games.
Paul Kusick, the head football coach of the Crestview Rebels, joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. So the season's going to start, from what I understand, August 19th and 20th, Thursday and Friday, and the season would end the first weekend in December. So you're really not losing, or I should say you're not really going deeper into the basketball season. You're just starting a week earlier.
Yes, that is correct.
All right, so obviously, if you're a top 4 seed, this is pretty nice. Assuming you win the first game in the field of 16, you're guaranteed a second home game. And if you finish in the top 4, 2 home games, assuming you win the first round, that's a pretty nice send-off for the seniors.
Well, that would be. I mean, to get 2 extra home games, that means a lot to any program. Especially as seniors are going out, financially you can make a little bit of money. So, that is an added bonus to it.
And you have a program that is very history built on, getting to the playoffs and has built that pedigree for the program. But there are some programs that don't have that pedigree that might be able to get it now, might be able to say, hey, we're a team that can consistently get into the playoffs, whether it be the 10 seed or the 11 seed. Do you think that is a positive for teams in the area to try to build their programs and try to get kids interested to say, hey, now we're getting in the playoffs every year, and that's something that we can put our feather in our cap?
I'm going to say yes and no. I think it's important that your program strive to win first of all, you want to win your league championship if you're in a league, and then secondly, you want to be playing week 11. But, what if you make the playoffs and you're 3-7 or 2-8? Is that going to be an issue? Which it's going to happen. There's going to be a team or two that has that poor record that makes it, but so be it. I like the excitement that it creates. I'm not so much a traditionalist in anything. I like to see progress, but I want to see progress for the right reasons. For example, I've come around on the DH. I can't stand watching pitchers bat anymore, and I was an old school baseball guy, but I can't stand watching pitchers bat. So I guess this is kind of going with the DH. It kind of is starting to grow on me.
You broke my heart. You just broke my heart. Although I have come around to the point of let's satisfy both crowds, and as long as your starting pitcher is in the game, you have a DH. Once the starting pitcher leaves, the DH is gone, and it's now pitchers hitting, and good luck with using your bench players when you need to use your bench players. When the pitcher's spot comes up, you're playing National League Baseball once the starting pitcher leaves. I absolutely love this idea. Look, I mean, in a perfect world, I'm still anti-DH, but I'll be more than happy to accept once the starting pitcher leaves the game, now we're going to go back to traditional baseball.
Yeah, that's not a bad compromise.
Yeah, it would work. I mean, now let's get it past Rob Manfred. That's another story for another time. Hey, you brought up something interesting, and we're chatting with Crestview coach Paul Kusick, the football coach and athletic director, and the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. You brought up winning your league, and this year, for the first time, you get to see a league opponent that is no stranger to Crestview, especially since you beat them in the playoffs last year, and that's Garrettsville Garfield. That's a great addition to the MVAC greats here. The G-men, year in, year out, have a fantastic football program.
Yes, they do, and they have quality programs and everything. So, it is a good addition. They're going to be, I think they're going to be the front runner this year. They got a lot of kids coming back. They were an unbelievable team last year, and that was a great playoff win for us, and I think that those are the wins that you want your program to get to help build your program. Those are called program wins when we talk to our kids. When you're trying to put a notch in your cap, that's why you want to be in the playoffs, and that's why you want to advance to play those programs and hopefully get a chance to beat them.
I know we brought you on to talk about the football playoffs, but as the AD, real quick, how much did it mean to you to see your spring athletes get a season this year and be able to compete? And all three, track and field, baseball, and softball, are all really doing well this year. So what did it mean to you as an AD to kind of see the athletes get a season and to let them go out and compete in the field?
Well, that was exciting, and I know all the ADs in the area, all the student athletes, coaches, everyone's excited for it because of what happened last year. What's always tough is when you get a quarantine situation and you have to, take a pause for a little bit and then sort some things out. We had to do that with baseball, but we got it figured out, got some games rescheduled. So, it's just awesome that they can get out there and get on the field and get on the track and go play. I think that's important for our kids because things just are not normal. I don't care what anybody says. The new normal, has created a situation where a lot of the student athletes just are bummed out, let alone just regular student body. So, trying to get things, on our way back is important, and hopefully we're headed there. But, let's not get too excited. Let's do what we need to do, and I think that's what we got to keep stressing.
Paul Kusick, the head football coach and the athletic director of the Crestview Rebels, joining us, I should say, on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. And Anthony brought up the track and field team, and specifically, there is a really good chance Crestview makes some serious noise, boys and girls track, when we go down to Columbus. If we go down to Columbus and we knock on wood and hope and pray to the track gods, small g, that we do, because Crestview has more than enough talent to make some noise in the state track meet this year.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping. We've got some good athletes that are really competing and setting some personal records and, getting up on our board for setting records, and hopefully that continues. It's kind of odd though this year. We're in the regionals, or the district regionals. Our girls are being sent to New Lexington, which baffles me. I don't understand it. So they're going to have to kind of compete against unknowns there. But I don't know why we wouldn't just go in our backyard and compete that way. But that's the way it goes.
Yeah, that's definitely strange. I didn't realize that. And then your baseball and softball teams both, just to talk about them, that they have a good chance, I think, to make some noise in their tournaments because they both have a lot of really good talent on their teams in Division III for both teams.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see what happens because we do have a lot of young kids that are playing in both programs. So, that's a benefit of when you get in the tournament. Just like in football, getting those underclassmen to get that experience, and so being young overall in both those programs, it'll be interesting to see what happens when it comes tournament time.
I'm assuming that we're going to do the same template that we have done in the fall and winter, and that's Super Size Me district tournaments for both baseball and softball. Would that be a correct assumption, Paul?
Well, I think that's what they're doing. Just from when I'm looking at the emails and the brackets and things like that, they have used that title. So yes, that's what it appears that we're going to be going with.
The softball team, and Anthony and I have talked a little bit about this because normally Thursday is a softball theme. Crestview is in a lead yet. This will surely be a wonderful test for the kids when they take on a state caliber softball team. Maybe not this year record wise, but historically a state caliber softball team in Champion.
Yeah, that's a great program. And that's a measuring stick for any program when you're competing against them. And obviously their record's going to be a little deceiving. And once those girls from Champion get into the playoffs, the tournament, they step it up another level. So, that's always the measuring stick. So, I'll be excited to see how our girls compete against them.
You brought it up a little bit earlier, talking about the baseball team and talking about having to kind of work around the schedule and find ways to reschedule teams. Let's talk a little bit about the obstacles that have been faced with every sport this year, just trying to work out schedules and move games around and schedule teams on the fly, and what that's been like from your perspective as an athletic director.
Well, I know that every athletic director, it's been very frustrating and challenging this year. And, you're trying to get your school, your community to follow the regulations, and everything's so political that it doesn't need to be. We need to, hey, this is a health issue. Let's just get through the season here, do what we need to do so our kids can compete. And sometimes it's very frustrating when you see people that don't want to do that. And, whatever your politics is, you need to first and foremost, let's think about, our student athletes and making sure they're on the field. So being able to deal with all of that controversy, from the political side, from the, what people believe and going crazy about that. And then when you do have situations when you quarantine and have to cancel games, whether it's your team or your opponent, I think everybody has done a great job in trying to reschedule and get our student athletes as many games as possible. And, it has been a very, very much a fluid process for every AD, and being able to work together is very important. I think our league has done a good job of that.
Paul Kusick, the head football coach and athletic director at Crestview, joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Before we let you go, a couple of years ago, you guys went turf, and just a beautiful addition to a spectacular field with the hopes, I would assume, of grabbing a state playoff game. And given the fact that we have added a round into the state playoffs, is it out of the realm of possibility that Crestview's field could be used for a possible Division 6 or a Division 7 landing spot in the postseason?
Well, that's, I kind of think that's one of the things that we're eyeing. When the process comes about of applying for those things, I think that's what we're going to do. Hopefully it's in a more normal situation where we're not dealing with all the regulations with COVID and all that kind of stuff. But, it is good to showcase your school and your facilities, to other people, and just so they get a kind of a taste of what we're all about. And I think, our opponents have always been very respectful of our facilities and very complimentary. So, I would like to see that happen, and I think it's a good setting for a D6 or D7 playoff game.
Agreed wholeheartedly. Paul, we can't thank you enough. Enjoy the rest of your day. I know you're counting down the days with school being finished and whatnot, so you can do your summer stuff. And August comes around pretty quickly. And before we let you go, we got to ask, because Anthony brought this up. August 19th and 20th would be week 1. Are the two-a-days still going to start in early August?
Well, as of right now, that's what the target date has been August 1 from get-go, which is a Sunday. So I'm assuming August 2nd. But it's a little different now. Two-a-days aren't exactly, like they were before. You have to really watch what you're doing, the amount of contact, things like that. We've kind of changed things up where we'll go a double, a single, and rotate it daily, and that has actually helped. I didn't like doing that, but I thought, you know what? After I did it, it was a positive. It kept our kids fresh, through the season, and towards the end of the season, we were much more fresh than we normally are. So you got to get creative with your scheduling. Preseason's always long anyway because you have the days of camp and you have the lifting and conditioning and all that kind of stuff. So preseason for football is very long. I don't mind the early start.
Do you knock down one of your scrimmages and just have one scrimmage now?
No, we are planning to have two. You'll have you can have your first one on a short notice, so to speak. But I think it's just going to be kind of how are you going to run that first scrimmage? How it's not going to kind of be the amount of plays that you would run in a normal first scrimmage. You just kind of have to limit and just see how you're going to run that. Because I think more than anything, you're just trying to scrimmages are teachable moments, and you just want to get some kids some reps against somebody else. You can't go crazy in a scrimmage and worry about winning a scrimmage. You just want to see your kids compete. So, that's where things are going to get a little different, and we'll see how that works out.
Hey, Paul, always a pleasure. Look forward to catching up with you before football season.
All right, guys, have a good one.
All right, see you. Paul Kusick, the head football coach and the AD of the Crestview Rebels. That's okay. Two scrimmages. Maybe the first one is a little different than what you would normally have, but it works.
It works. It works. It all works out, and loved hearing him not just with the football talk, but to get to talk to an AD as well and hear about the obstacles that the ADs have all faced throughout every season and trying to schedule. We haven't heard from it. We haven't talked to an AD about that, so it was nice to get from an AD's perspective about all the scheduling conflicts and trying to schedule on the fly. You have to have your white hat handy if you're an AD because you write in something in the schedule and then all of a sudden it's like, oops, that's not happening anymore.
Yeah, well, it's and
just replace it with this team.
Unfortunately, forget about COVID for a second. In a normal spring season, the weather isn't exactly the greatest in the world in northeastern Ohio, so it's really, really tough to keep a schedule from start to finish. You're probably not going to be able to do that. So, and that's in a normal season. Throw COVID into this, and now you've really screwed your schedule up, where you have to scramble. And ADs, they make their coin. They have seriously earned their coin and then some the last couple of years with this COVID.
He does that. He teaches and he coaches football. It's quite
busy,
quite incredible.
Very, very busy for sure. All right, we're going to take a timeout. On the other side, in about 12 minutes or so, we are going to be hearing from the head softball coach of the Ursuline Irish. Mike Kernan will be chiming in.
Maybe one of the best teams in the area right now. As of
scary.
right now, the way they're playing, it's
they're scary.
They're
a really, really good softball team.
Run out of adjectives, to be honest.
Yeah, they're a really good softball team. This just in, and Division III is going to be crazy good. This just in. Mike Kernan will be joining us in about 12 minutes or so. Stick around, more to come on this Thursday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, we go the extra mile for you.
By finding you the right vehicle at the right price.
By giving you confidence in your vehicle with a Greenwood Advantage warranty.
By guaranteeing you financing,
regardless of your situation or credit history.
And by being with you for every mile of your journey.
Now, we're going the extra mile for you with an additional $1,500 on your trade, plus the best selection of new and used vehicles in the area.
Visit greenwoodchevrolet.com and tell us how we can go the extra mile for you.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the four words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
Jimmy Sudman here, Director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and two of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business, 330-886-0813. That's 330-886-0813. With you till 3 o'clock. And coming up at 3, we will have Power Hour on ysnlive.com. Coming up momentarily, the head softball coach of the Ursuline Irish, Mike Kernan, will be chiming in at about 1:15. Coming up at 2 o'clock this afternoon, Lakeview High School softball coach Nate Schick. So that is coming up on the program. No baseball, no softball to speak of yesterday because of the snow. Snow is gone, although the weather is disgustingly cold out.
Because of the snow.
Yeah, April the 21st, and we got snow.
Is it spring you're looking for? Yes, it is.
Yeah, we're looking for spring. That would be nice. But, the good news is early next week, temps in the 80s, which will be nice. Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
with our bad luck, it'll be warm but thunderstorming.
Let's not, let's not say that. All right. Hopefully, Hopefully, fingers crossed, we will be in really, really good shape because the rest of the week, it really isn't that bad. The rest of the week, because it's supposed to be 60 on Friday. Now, you got a little shower activity on Saturday.
Kind of like, because I'm supposed to be doing like 3 softball games on Saturday.
Yeah, it's partly cloudy early, increasing clouds with showers developing later in the day on Saturday with a high of 64, and then Sunday's 55.
The good news for Saturday is that percentage on my phone keeps dropping. Because 2 days ago it was 80%, yesterday it was 70%, and today it's 60%. So maybe by tomorrow it'll be 50%, and then we'll just have scattered showers and we'll be fine.
Well, maybe the rain starts on Saturday night or early Saturday night, which would give you the opportunity to get in all of those games. I mean, hopefully that's the case.
I'll send some offerings to Mother Nature.
That would be nice.
Gaia Earth. And be like,
that would be nice.
Do some rain.
We do have 47 with a chance of showers today, a 40% chance of rain today. So I don't know if that's going to preclude us from some high school baseball games today or not. I would hope not. But then tomorrow 60 degrees, Saturday 64. And then Sunday, mid-50s, mid-60s on Monday, and then 81 Tuesday and Wednesday. So that'll be nice. That'll be glorious. Glorious. Hopefully we'll get as many baseball and softball games in as possible. And like I said, the ADs, they got work to do. They certainly have a lot of work to do between now and the postseason, which will be entertaining to say the least. We've been mentioning when the postseason gets underway, you're going to be looking at the Super Size Me edition, where much like the fall and the winter, you'll have 20 some odd teams seeded top to bottom, and you'll have your matchups based on the seeds. That's going to be that's going to be really entertaining to say the least. And there is a crazy amount of good talent in baseball and softball in this area, and when you add another district with more talent, that's just going to make things pretty entertaining to say the least. There could be some really, really good programs that don't get an opportunity to go to regional tournaments this year. Which,
well, yeah, by definition, yes, because only 2 teams are making it because there's going to be 2 districts.
Yeah.
And you look around this area, especially in Division III for softball, which is what we're talking today. You look at Division III in softball, you're thinking they can make a run in the regional. They probably can too. They have a shot. It's like 5 or 6 teams that literally could make it out of that district and could make.
And only 2 of them are getting in.
Only 2.
Yeah.
So
4 of them are going to be on the outside.
Welcome to the nature of sports.
Yeah.
It's why we love it.
Yeah.
Because we're going to have really competitive district tournaments, and whoever wins it's going to earn it.
Yeah. If there's 6 really good programs that could get to the regional tournaments, only 2 of them are going to actually get into the tournament, the regional tournament, meaning that 4 of them are going to be left at the altar. That's not good.
I don't think they're going to be that. I mean, that would be like the worst day of your life.
Well, I don't know. It depends on it depends on how it turns out. I mean, you could later find out that person was psychotic and you didn't know, and you get left to the altar. It's the best day of your life. I'm just saying, it might feel bad now, but
it all worked out in the end.
Long term, it works out in the end because you dodged a bullet. So I'm just saying.
Oh man.
I mean, I'm not speaking from experience. I'm just spitballing here. You could very well it could very well be a blessing in disguise. And I didn't mean literally left at the altar. I'm just saying 4 teams on the outside looking in. So
just a metaphor.
Yeah, it was a metaphor.
You and your metaphors.
Well, the metaphor and real life kind of sometimes they collide. So you don't want that. All right, enough of that subject. Coming up in a couple of minutes, we will hear from the head softball coach of the Ursuline Irish, the undefeated Ursuline Irish, Mike Kernan.
If you're going to beat Ursuline out of this district, you better be able to keep the ball low in the strike zone, because they hammer it and they hammer it out of the park.
And it's not just the top part; it's every part of the lineup.
If you're a rise ball pitcher, 1, you better be deceptive. 2, you better not throw a flat one, and 3, you got to be able to throw it at the three levels of the zone. If you can't, they're going to sit on 1 and let the other one go.
All right, give me a tutorial here. 3 levels of the zone. What are we talking?
Rise ball pitchers that are elite or that are really good can throw 1 for a strike.
Okay.
Right at the top of the zone.
All right.
Throw 1 for just out of the tempting pitch, that's like just out of the strike zone, and then throw 1 that's a chase pitch that goes up at the player's eyes.
Okay.
So you got to be able to kind of do all 3 of them.
Well, is the strike zone in softball still
it's
letters to the knees?
Yeah, letters to knees. Like baseball.
So, I mean, a level 1 rise ball would be letter high.
Right across the letters.
Okay.
Yep.
Level 2 would be up around the neck, and then the level 3 is around the eyes?
Right.
All right. Learn something new every day. All right. Coming on board, the head softball coach of arguably one of the best programs. Certainly in Division III, they're one of the best programs in this area, and could very well be one of the best programs in the state right now.
Well,
he is the head softball coach for the Ursuline Irish, Mike Kernan, joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Coach, how are you today, sir?
Well, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for calling in. My goodness, what a season for the Ursuline Irish. You and your team have been laying waste to darn near everyone this year in the early going of this 2021 softball campaign.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You know, I think as well as we're playing, we're still trying to stay grounded. And actually, the kids are making it easy for me. You know, you wouldn't even know they're rolling like they are when we walk into practice or get talked about the next game. They just look at me like, "What's next, coach?" You know, so it's as great as the season is. Kids are making it easy on me, the way they play and their approach to the game.
And I got to imagine that approach starts with your senior leaders. And, man, do you have a wonderful senior class with Maris Barbado, Emily Holland, and Julia Nutter, all three of them going to college next year to play. And all three of them are doing amazing things, not just with the BAP and Emily Holland in the circle. What's it like having this senior class lead the team, and how fortunate are you that you get this senior class to lead the team?
Yeah, you're very right with that. They're a special group. They've been a special group, since their freshman year. But, now it's turned up a notch. And watching their leadership around the rest of the team, I mean, that I say they make it easy for me, but these three seniors are the nucleus to that, and they really just taking it in stride, and they're great leaders. They're, not only, like you said, taking care of business at the plate, but on the mound and defensively as well. And then just to being the leaders that they are is, I'm lucky to have the mix.
Mike Hernan, the head softball coach at Ursuline, joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Coach, Anthony and I have raved about your offense. That 1 through 9, 1 through 10, my goodness, there is no weak link. Everyone has the ability to hit the ball hard. It's the home runs, just the hard contact. There are no easy outs in your lineup. That's murderer's row in the softball diamond.
I'll tell you what, if you actually watch some of the games where we did not run roll a team, the defense I watched by the other team is pretty amazing in itself. Our 9-hitter, where we were playing Cuyahoga Heights up in Akron last week, they're undefeated, always a very quality Division IV program, banging around the regionals year in and year out. So we weren't sure what to expect, but if you talk about the energy throughout our lineup, we were on the pony field fence up at Akron at Firestone in right field. We weren't in the stadium, so they had a portable fence. Our 9-hitter launches one, and this girl just reaches over the portable fence, has to lean over, still caught it in play, put her both hands out of bounds after she caught it, in foul territory, kept her 2 feet in play, and that was a third out of the inning. And I just kind of chuckled. I think when we played there the week before, they caught 2 at the fence that, if, the center fielder wasn't playing at the fence, it's probably a home run. So, it's interesting, the energy that's coming out of our full lineup. And, it's hard to explain, but they just go out there and they take care of business.
So, Coach, you were on the pony field for that game. Were you at the stadium at all in the weekend in Akron?
We did. We played 2 there. That's kind of the strategy, a little bit of getting up to the Akron Firestone Stadium is to get some reps in there. So we played there. We played there the week before, 1 game each weekend. So we got some good reps up there.
I want to ask about playing in that stadium and what it's like for. I mean, not just the fact that the state championship is there, but the fact that it's the stadium that's built for professional softball in the state of Ohio, and it's that kind of big atmosphere. What's it like stepping into that field, and to just kind of take a moment and realize the kind of the names that have come through that field, and the fact that you get to play on that dirt? What was that like?
It's kind of just a little surreal feeling, and you have to really absorb it and comprehend the big picture of it. You know me, I'm a fanatic. You guys don't know me well enough. I've gone up there and watched too many regional games, too many state games. We were up there in 2009 and played there. So every year you go up there and you kind of prep your team to get a rep on there with the vision of hey, this is where we need to get comfortable here. But just being there, knowing that's a possibility, makes that atmosphere and the environment, kind of just you feel good. Like, let's make this for real come playoff time. So, and I watch the kids observe; they enjoy getting on that field, And I'm going to pivot off of that because I have to say, our softball team is spoiled. YSU in itself, and you guys go up there and do a great job covering our games. YSU itself, we're spoiled when we step on that field too. But with the Akron Firestone field and the YSU field, we're almost feel spoiled every time we get around those fields, but we do appreciate it.
Mike Kernan, the head softball coach of the Ursuline Irish, joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. The fact that you play on a college softball field with perhaps deeper dimensions than a high school softball field, does that help your team offensively and pitching staff-wise in the long run, Coach?
Stat-wise, offensively, does it help us? I'd say if there's some fields around here, we would break quite a bit of home run records if we played on some of the high school fields around here. When you're hitting home runs like we are, you're earning it at the YSU field. Playing on those dimensions, you're really absorbing. Even from the defensive side, you're absorbing how to play the game mentally in a different manner. You're playing on that full-fledged field. It's just the dimensions seem different, even though sometimes they're not. But you're earning your offense. It doesn't make it easier out there, but you're earning your offense. Probably more of a pitcher's field than it is a hitter's field, but either way, lucky to be on that field.
You guys have hit 19 home runs as a team in your 13 games played, and they've come from 7 different hitters. I mean, have you ever been a part of a group of players that can hit this deep in the line? I mean, 7 different players have hit a home run, and you have 19 of them through 13 games. It's really remarkable. I watch your lineup when I get to go do the games, and I'm not even joking when I say the lineup feels like it's a college lineup when you're going through it. Talk about just what it's like watching that.
That's a good question, because I don't know who's going to start the inning, who's going to ignite the inning, and where it's going to end sometimes. And when they're feeding off of each other, they say hitting's contagious. I mean, when you have the lineup we have, it's just hard to explain. Our 8-hitter is a 3-hitter or 4-hitter on our travel ball team. And like I said, our 9-hitter, we would have had 8 different hitters with the home run if that ball's not caught for some hanging over the fence. For myself, it's fun to watch. It's fun. It's fun from my end, easy. I mean, if you're not enjoying that as a coach of the team, then you're probably on the wrong offensive team. But our 1 through 5 right now is just another level consistently, and our 6, 7, 8, 9 is at a level I'd be happy if they were our 1, 2, 3, 4 hitters, and I keep saying that. So you're exactly right. This team isn't your normal hitting team when you're looking at our batting lineup 1 through 9.
Ursuline head baseball coach joining us, and that would be Mike Kernan on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline. Anthony and I have talked of the depth of this Division III tournament, and considering the supersize tournament that we will have, 2 district tournaments into one gigantic tournament. The reality is only 2 teams are going to get out of the districts, and Anthony and I can rattle off 5 or 6 teams that could very well represent this area very nicely in a regional tournament, but only 2 of those teams are going to get into the regional. It's going to make for some interesting tournament baseball. Interesting tournament softball when the tournaments get underway, Coach.
Yeah, the super regional. I'm going to have to say from experience, I believe it makes it more fair. The Central has been doing this super regional for a few years. I'm glad we kind of got caught up to doing the super regionals. We could go back to 2 years ago, 2019 in Division II, when the Final Four was 20-win Mooney, undefeated Poland. We were 25-2. West Branch was 24-2. And you're like, who's coming out of this? And our game, so we all played in one district. 2 years later, now you can kind of divide up the better teams into 2 districts. You're still going to have top teams. Only 2 teams are still going to make it. But at least you create a little more fairness to, if you have a bunch of top district teams in one district, at least they get to spread out to 2. So I think it leads to a little more fair. The fact we have, so many quality teams in our area, that's just a credit to the coaches and the support around here and the growing nature of competition in the Mahoning Valley.
Earlier in the season, you guys got to play champion, and in 2018, 2019, for whatever reason, you guys had them scheduled and it got canceled because of weather or other reasons. So you finally get to play champion this year, and it's got to be a measuring stick coming into that game, thinking, okay, this is one of the best teams in the district, of course, state superpower. We have to see how we stack up against this team to really feel like how we're going to stack up in the tournament. Man, did you guys pass that test? 13-6, you laid on champion. What was that game like, and how much momentum did that win give you guys for the next couple weeks after it?
Well, yeah, that's a very big win. Anytime you knock off champion and you knock them off in a solid statement style, you feel good about that. Champion they just have played at a high level, and they continue to play at a high level. We knew their record coming in playing us was no indicator of what kind of team they had, because they came out of the gate. When you're 3 or 4 times state championship over the last so many years, you don't have a choice but to play the best teams, even though you might be a notch down. And I don't know how much of a notch down they are. They competed with some very, very good Division I teams in other divisions. So we knew the indicator. Their record was no indicator. How we played and how our kids got ready. We wanted to play champion. They were probably in a better position than we were. Relaxed, no lose situation. We're undefeated. Rankings coming around the corner with for the tournament. That was a big game. They're 4-4, lost a couple tight games. We're undefeated. I wouldn't say the pressure was on us because we didn't feel it, but really it was almost other than us going out and doing what we did. Yeah, we made the statement to say, okay, we're here. We're a pretty solid team, and we're the ones at the top right now. I mean, so the game was it was a nice statement, so our district too has champion in it. I wouldn't want to play them again. Our district has South Range in it. That's South Range is another top team, and you talked about good teams. So, we take it as a measuring stick. We take it as momentum. Yeah, we thought we were good. That kind of maybe says, okay, it makes us feel a little better about ourselves. But our kids still just go play the game. I can't tell a difference the day after, 2 days later, or even from a ranking standpoint. Our kids just show up, coach, who's next? What do we need to do at practice today? So all good stuff.
You made mention when you played Champion, perhaps if there was any pressure, it would be on you guys. But let's talk about that word, because you're riding a unbeaten streak to start the season. The further along you go, do you sense any pressure the further along you go, given the fact that you're an undefeated team?
Yeah, that's a good question, because I don't know that. And I think you guys brought up the number one ranking, which we got the number one Division III ranking too, and hey, I've been here 20 years, and you're always saying, I want to be number one. I want that number one ranking. That'd be nice. Okay, well, finally we're here. We got it, and that's going to change, could change each week. But you know what? These kids deserve it. I'm going to enjoy it a day or two. But in the end, that stuff is the rankings. The rankings, whether you're 4, 8, you got to go take care of business. Whether you're 1, you got to go take care of business. You might have a bigger bullseye on your back, now that you're number one. But, I think that's where I find our team is at another level, because it's not about taking, getting out there, feeling pressure. We're undefeated. The look in my players' eyes is they're enjoying the season, and they want to know who we play next, Coach. I don't even sense it out of them, and I'm like taken back by that a little bit. So I don't see it. I don't sense it. These kids are just kind of out there playing, and having fun with it. And I think that's incredible to watch as a coach. I mean, again, I've never been in 13-0, never been ranked number one, and to see how these kids are hammering themselves at practicing at the games, it almost takes the pressure off me if there's supposed to be pressure, but they're relaxing, enjoying it, and having fun with it.
Every team that's great finds ways to get better, finds things they can improve on. Got to be kind of hard for you when you look at the numbers and you look at the way you guys are playing to try to find things to improve on. But as the season has gone on and now as the season keeps going, what kind of things do you look at your team and say, we still want to get better at this if we want to really reach our ultimate goal? So what are the things that you're looking at to improve?
Be great teammates. Don't think we're better than we are. Our attitudes, and I see that. Make sure we continue to step up the schedule towards the end of the season, and get better at those games. And I think they want to play and win every game and be undefeated. Who doesn't? But I could see us losing a game and them saying, "Who's next?" Knowing that come tournament time, we got to put our game face on and make things happen. So just watching these kids handle themselves is a pleasure.
Mike Hernan, the head softball coach at Ursuline. Coach, before we let you go, and he's joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, here's a scary thought. Do you feel like your team has played its best softball, or do you believe there is still a extra gear that you have not seen from these kids as of yet?
I keep watching us play a game, and I'm waiting for that gear to kind of settle down. So they're playing at a high gear. I know we can get at a higher gear. When you go play Mooney, these kids, their first goal of the season is when do we play Mooney? It didn't matter. There was no rankings. There was no nothing. The look in the kids' eyes was, I was sitting there thinking, I don't know if I want to play this team. And I'm coaching them. So, the level they're playing at, I'm sure we're going to have a little bit of downs, some more ups. Go with the flow. Stay focused on what our ultimate goal is in the end. But we might have some ups and downs and not get too excited about it. And I think they understand, keep improving. Like yesterday at our practice and hitting, the kids are in there just focused on making sure they're making consistent, solid contact. So we're never settled, even if we're playing at a high level, to staying sharp and staying focused and make sure, we're at our A game. But, I got to think throughout the season, we might have a down game or two, and I'm sure that positive that's going to happen, and we're just going to go with the flow. And I think come tournament time, these kids will know what's at hand. They're going to have that look in their eye that's saying, we're going to go take care of business. So I feel good about that. But, so the whole picture is they'll be ready.
We can't let you go without letting you talk about your coaching staff, because you get all the light, you get all the interviews, but I know you don't do it alone. So talk about the people that are with you and the help they bring to the team and the support they bring to you in the program.
Shoot. I got Coach Barb Bellestrino, who's been with me for 20 years. Anybody would tell you she's like we're like sister and brother. With our we've grown to a great relationship. She's been with me day one. She's a Hall of Famer at YSU, Hall of Famer at Ursuline. To have that in our mold, we have the same background. Of play hard, no excuses. Take care of business on the field. We come from that same old mold, which is great. Having the female around the female environment, another huge plus. And she's a great player in herself. So just to her alone is amazing to have as assistant coach, not only for me but for the team and the other coaches. And the other coaches always make fun of Coach Barb keeps me in check. If there's anybody who needs to keep me in check, it's Coach Barb. But we got Coach Red Hart. She was our leadoff hitter in our 2009 state runner-up team. And she's really grown and been responsible, has come around to just be a great assistant coach, helping in plenty of different facets. She was a great slapper. You have Coach Christina Dugan. She played at YSU with Coach Campbell. I think she was at Tiffin, Coach Campbell's first year, played there for 3 years. She now teaches up at Ursuline. Gosh, and I think they called her the Iron Man, because I don't think she missed playing any games in her career. If so, not many. But her mentality with the kids, the skill level she played, how she relates to the kids is incredible in itself. I have another player who graduated a few years ago, so I have another younger player, Coach Nikki Melkovich, who just is around, does pretty much anything you ask her to do. She pitched a little bit for us. She was an infielder, outfielder, pretty decent hitter, played on some nice winning teams for us, and she's that youth level involved with the kids that kind of keeps us in checks too with the players and coaches. I probably got the biggest coaching staff around too, so our program's probably pretty good because of our coaching staff, not me and the players. Because then we got Coach Doc Dankovich, who's a longtime official, been around all kinds of sports. He's an add-on this year. Great official. He helped me in basketball this year. He was so good in basketball, I had to ask him, "You mind helping us in softball?" And he's just a tremendous asset around the kids as well. So I mean, my staff, we're fortunate at Ursuline to have what we have. I couldn't be luckier. Great players, phenomenal staff, and let all that take its course.
Coach, I got to ask before we let you go, and we're speaking with Ursuline head softball coach Mike Kernan on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. If you don't win a state championship this year, is it considered to be a disappointment for this program this year?
We have high expectations. I also know how hard it is to win a state championship. We come in every year in and year out, and with expectations that we can do this. I mean, we're obviously a little more talented this year, a little more well-rounded. So is it going to hurt a little more maybe if we don't hit those high expectations? It's probably going to hurt a little more. It hurts every year, that last game. 20 years I haven't ended the season on a winning note yet. So you get used to it. This one's definitely going to hurt a little more, and that's okay. Because that's been fire. That's been fuel in my fire to get us where we are, to continue to get better all the way up to this season. and that's part of life. And in the end, these kids know how to prepare. How you prepare them for life. You prepare me for the next season. You prepare them for the next season. So that's life if it's all absorbed in the same manner, in the right manner. And in the end, that's what that athletics is about, is not what kind of athlete did I make this player, what kind of person did I make this player. And unfortunately, losing in the end is one of the toughest things to handle. But I will say, yes, this one might be a little more tougher, but we're going to give it our best shot, that's for sure.
Well, you got a really good chance of coming home a winner this time around with the last game, Coach, and we wish you all the best.
You've been talking about pressure all day, and Ron just put the ultimate pressure on you guys.
It's a question. I mean, they're undefeated. They're number one in the state. I'm just saying,
I'm going to enjoy a couple days being here. I'll keep my kids in check. Good question. Hey, the pressure thing's a good question, because I'm like, are we supposed to be feeling pressure? Because we're just playing. I think that's a great question. I think that's a great question.
And keep doing that. Keep playing and keep having fun. And let the chips fall where they may. That should be the ultimate. And hopefully the ultimate ending for you and your kids is a trip to Akron and you win your final game, and then let the celebration begin. Coach, we can't thank you enough. The best of luck to you and continued success this year at Ursuline.
Hey, thanks for having me, and thanks for helping keep it a little fun. Thanks, guys. Keep it up.
You got it. Mike Hernan, the head softball coach at Ursuline. You're undefeated. You're number one in the state. I'll be honest. If I
Ron just turned it into a state championship or bust season.
Look. If I were in his position, looking at this, saying, I've just knocked off some really, really good softball teams. My schedule's no joke, and I'm number one in the state. Yeah, okay. Let's continue to play this. But I would be more than a little disappointed if my team didn't win a state title. But, again, that's just me.
I think I don't want to use the word disappointment, because when you look back on a season, and especially as a coach with high school kids, you got to enjoy every moment. And you're going to look back and you're going to say, this season was great, whether we won a state championship or not. So disappointment is not the word but I would say that the opportunity to have a roster of this caliber doesn't come around a lot. We're talking lineup that has three seniors that are all playing in college next year, and a couple of underclassmen that are either committed to college or heavily recruited. So you don't get that kind of thing often, and when you get it, you want to make the most of it. I mean, imagine if Champion didn't win in 2019 with 2 Division I pitchers on their staff. That would have just felt earth-shattering, because they have so much talent. So I think the opportunity is there, and they want to make the most of it. And I think the drive to win a state championship this year is going to be higher than ever at Ursuline, because they realize that they have the roster to have a legitimate chance of winning a state championship.
Oh, they do. There's no question they do.
So I wouldn't say disappointment if they don't. I would say I would use the other opposite end of the spectrum and say it's more of a drive to kind of get yourself to that standard, because that you're losing 3 seniors next year, all 3 of them going to play in college, and this opportunity isn't going to come up every year to get this kind of roster.
Yeah. It'll be fun. It'll be fun to see this journey and see how this journey gets played out. Right now, if they're not in the top of the mountain, they're pretty damn close. And it's been a special year in Ursuline. No two ways about it.
I think we were talking about that champion game. I think it was absolute gamesmanship from Coach Weaver to not throw Cassidy Schaefer in that game. Because I think she knew we're probably going to see Ursuline at some point in the tournament. I don't want to show them my number one pitcher as far as innings go.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why she is on the Mount Rushmore of softball coaches
in
this area.
She kind of was thinking ahead and saying this game in the regular season, for us at champion, isn't important.
Exactly.
Which I mean, it's important, but it's not like I'm not gonna. That's the way champion think. I'm not gonna put tournament games at risk to win this regular season game.
And this is spoken like a program that has won multiple state championships.
And
you get a different mentality.
You know, every other program saying we have to throw our ace against champion. You know, I don't care if we're going to see him later in the tournament. We have to throw our best. And champion sitting there saying, you know, we'll throw our second pitcher at you guys, and you know, we'll compete, we'll try to win, but we're not going to throw our best at you. Best, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Because Emma Gumont's a really good pitcher. She's going to play at Notre Dame College. So it's not like they threw a scrub at Ursuline. But I think the better matchup is Cassidy Schaefer, because Schaefer keeps the ball down low in the strike zone, a little bit less velocity. And I think Coach Weaver kind of knew that and didn't want Ursuline to see Cassidy Schaefer in the circle.
Well, it's a great move.
Emma Gumont throws velocity and she throws rise balls.
And it's a great move because, you know, I mean, let's be honest. If you're seeing each other in the district finals, district semifinals, or let's say, and not to tick anybody off, but let's say Champion and Ursuline win the Super Size Me districts, and they happen to meet in the regional semifinals. Well, that's where you're going to be seeing this team, and that's where our ace pitcher is going to throw against Ursuline. I agree with what if that is if that was the plan all along from Cheryl Weaver, it's a masterful plan. And again, this is from a program that has been on top of the mountain, that has gone to the summit 8 times in their storied career. Yeah, there's a different mentality when you have a program that has won multiple state championships against a program that's still looking for their first.
Right. And then you saw the next day when Champion went to play Boardman, who they're not going to see in the tournament because it's a couple of divisions ahead of them.
Sure.
They threw Cassidy Schaefer, and it was a different team. They beat Boardman 4-3, and they pitched really well. And it was one of those things where I think Cheryl Weaver also knew that, okay, we lost to Ursuline. Now we need a feather in our cap to keep this team a little bit motivated to say, we're okay, we're fine, we can still compete with the big boys. So she threw Cassidy Schaefer against a really good Division I Boardman team, and she pitched well, held them down to 3 runs, and I think that was one of the really smart moves from Coach Weaver to kind of work with the pitching staff like that.
Okay, I got to ask, because you're the expert in this, and I'm a novice, and I'll be the first to admit that I'm a novice in softball. Come tournament time, do you stay with your ace the whole tournament run, or is it mix and match?
It depends what team you have. Like Ursuline will pitch Paige Ogden and Emily Holland through the tournament. I guarantee. Okay. Emily Holland might get all the starts, to be honest, but Paige Ogden will be the person that comes if they ever get into trouble right there. I mean, they can trust Paige Ogden just as much as they trust Emily Holland. But if you're Champion, it's also matchups. If you know this team can't catch up to speed, you're going to throw Emma Gamont because she blings, pitches at 62, 63 miles per hour and rise ball pitches. If you're playing a team like Ursuline that hits the ball out of the yard at will, you're going to throw Cassidy Schaefer because she throws off speed, keeps the ball down low in the strike zone, and at least gives your defense a chance to make good plays. They have a really good infield, by the way, at Champion. So I think people like Champion and Ursuline and even South Range, who's having some depth in the circle this year, have the luxury to kind of look at matchups and say, who do we want to start?
One of these teams will not go to the regional tournament. Right. That's the scary part of all of this.
But that's the thing. Like softball, there's no pitch count. There's no. You have to rest.
Yeah.
You can throw a girl that she can throw 110 pitches and come back the next day and throw again. So there are teams that rely on one pitcher, and they'll get them through the whole high school tournament.
But that's a natural movement to go. Right. To go like this, it's a natural movement. Right. Where this, isn't a natural movement, and hence the reason why
and it still
you got to
has,
get set.
It still has wearing on the parts of the body as softball, but it's not the same parts. You know, you worry about the hip in softball. You worry a little bit more about the shoulder instead of the elbow because you're still, rocketing that shoulder back. So you're still putting wear on your body. It's just not as hard of wear, and it's not, repeated wear on the body. So, and these softball pitchers are used to throwing 4 games in a weekend in travel ball. So 2 games in 2 days is nothing for them.
Yeah, there you go. So, all right, 330-886-0813. We'll take a timeout and be back with more on this Thursday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in the Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
This is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
If you're looking for a quality pre-owned vehicle, why shop anywhere else but Tri-State Ford? Choose from our great selection of pre-owned vehicles. Plus, we've got you covered with our exclusive Tri-State Ford Advantage. It includes a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty with your pre-owned vehicle and much more. Come see why so many customers from the Tri-State area buy their pre-owned vehicle at Tri-State Ford.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
No matter what the weather, be prepared with a reliable, efficient Rude gas furnace or air conditioner from MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Call your energy efficient expert MP Vivo today for a free estimate.
Here at MP Vivo, we rely on Rude, and so should you.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Rain will come and go tomorrow. There'll be some dry intervals.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
"60 years ago, Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods began with 3 siblings, a hand-set sawmill, and a few local orders. And while business has certainly changed over the years, what has not are our principles of hard work, craftsmanship, and commitment to quality. At Baird Brothers, we're proud to put our name on the products we create, from moldings and doors to flooring and lumber. Thank you for 60 great years. We look forward to 60 more. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Ron Pochester with you alongside Anthony Hartwig. Some news from YSU and their baseball program. There's been a schedule change to this weekend's series. Now, the series is still going to be played at Eastwood Field, and it's still going to be a 4-game series. However, the schedule is going to be changed, and that's due to the inclement weather in the forecast for Saturday. So the Penguins and the Golden Grizzlies are now going to play a doubleheader on Friday beginning at 2 p.m. Game 1 will be 7 innings, while Game 2 is slated for 9 innings. Now, here's a caveat. If Game 1 happens to go into extra innings, then Game 2 would become the 7-inning game.
Here's what you do. You go to Oakland in the 7th inning, and you tell them, we're going to have a tie game. We're just going to play 2 9-inning games, and they're both going to be extras.
Yeah, well,
although if you're YSU, you don't want anything that close.
You don't want anything that close, exactly.
But at the same time,
yeah. So your 7-inning game is Game 1, unless it goes into extra innings, and then Game 2 would be the 7-inning game. But in a perfect world, Colin Floyd is pitching Game 1 on Friday, the 7-inning affair. Penguins win that game, and then the Game 2 would be the 9-inning affair, which would be the other Colin.
The other
Colin. It's you would have your doubleheader on Friday. Saturday is now slated for 1 p.m., and the series finale will be on Sunday at 1 p.m. So again, instead of a doubleheader on Saturday, it is now a doubleheader on Friday, and instead of Friday's game beginning at 5 p.m., Friday is now going to begin at 2 p.m. Game 1 will be 7 innings. Game 2 will be 9 innings, unless Game 1 goes into extra innings. If it does, then Game 2 will be the 7-inning affair. Saturday at 1 o'clock, the series finale on Sunday at 1 o'clock. That leads me to believe that the inclement weather on Saturday will probably wind up being late in the afternoon. At least that schedule tells me that.
Fingers and toes crossed.
There you go. By the way, all 4 games this weekend will be heard on ysnlive.com.
By our boy Richie.
Richie Giuliano will be the play-by-play guy, as he always is, for YSU baseball. And you can, again, check out all the action on ysnlive.com.
You can shekel.
Check out all the action.
Pay a shekel.
A shekel, and you can get the shekel. Pay a shekel to get the shekel, if you will. It's Friday doubleheader. Game 1 starts at 2 p.m. Game 2, about 25-30 minutes at the conclusion of Game 1, and hopefully Game 1 is a 7-inning affair. Unless, of course, the Penguins are losing going into the bottom of the 7th, then you want an extra inning affair.
No, you want to walk off at 7 is what.
Well, that would be nice too. That would be exceptional as well. The bottom line, Penguins are taking on the last place team in the Horizon League. They need to win at minimum 3, in a perfect world, all 4. All right, so that's coming up this weekend. Coming up right now, we're talking high school softball with the head softball coach of the Lakeview Bulldogs. Nate Schick joins us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Coach, how are you today?
Hey, good guys. How are you?
Doing well. The season to this point for Lakeview in a very tough conference in the NE8 with COVID and everything that's been going on, the inclement weather and whatnot. Give us a direction of how the season has been, as far as the amount of twists and turns you've had to deal with this year, Coach.
Well, to be honest, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that we're just appreciative that we're able to play right now, compared to what we were doing last year at this time. So I guess more than anything, we're just glad to be on the field. overall, really, it's a roller coaster. And, it's weird to say this, but I think the most complete game we've played as a team was game one. And since then, we've been missing little pieces here and there. And I guess in the long run, we just hope to kind of put it all together by the time we get to mid-May.
Yeah, and you guys, 5-7 record, but as the season has gone on, man, have you gotten more and more competitive each time you play? Even the Poland game this week, the first one, man, you had the Bulldogs on the ropes in game one. They beat you 11-8. Talk about the growth you've seen from your team as the season has gone on, and how much they've really improved from game one.
Yeah, in all honesty, our last three games, we got beat by Fitch 10-0. We got, like you just mentioned, the Poland game. We were up 8-6 going into the seventh, and just kind of went a little bit flat. We didn't have that edge, that last inning that we needed to finish it. And then we lost to them the very next day, which was Tuesday. And I think the final score was 9-2. But to be honest with you, it was a competitive game. I think it was 3-1 going into the fourth or the fifth inning. So we were right there with them. And realistically, you take an inning away from any of those three games, and it's a 2-1, 3-1 game either way. And that's what we're kind of preaching. Obviously no head coach ever wants to say, it's a good loss. But we're trying to find the positives in all of the losses. And I feel like, mentally right now we're about as good as we can be following those three losses. But back on the field tomorrow at McCune and Canfield with the strikeout cancer. So hopefully that competition is playing that tough competition is going to prove positive here real soon.
Lakeview High School head softball coach Nate Schick joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. You made mention of the tough schedule both in your league and outside of your league, and obviously you play a very difficult schedule that leads to the tournament talk. And obviously we're still a ways away from the tournament, but one would assume with all of the tough games that and opponents that you have played, it will most definitely give you some idea of what it's going to take to be successful come Division II tournaments.
Yeah, the Division II with these super districts in the East District, I think is what they're calling ours. I think there's 26 teams, and it's incredible the amount of talent that we're going to have to face if we want to get out of districts, or at least even get to districts at this point, because there's so many strong teams. Your Polands, your Hubbards, they're all West Branch. They're all in our district with us. And I know I'm leaving teams out, and I apologize, but there's 8-10 teams in there that could absolutely make it to regionals, and so. You just hope the draw lines up and things are working out well that day, and you play a couple good games in a row.
We've been talking to a lot of teams, a lot of coaches throughout the season, and leadership has been just one of the staples, no matter who we're talking to at all the teams. Talk about your seniors and the leadership they bring to the team, and how important it is this year, especially with all the craziness that this year has brought. So what have the seniors meant to you guys?
Well, we have one senior, really. Actually, our whole, out of all the girls in our program, we have one senior, and she means everything to us, really. She's a really good she's our catcher. She's our game manager on the field. She's vocal. She's fun. She loves playing the game, and she has a high game IQ. So all of that combined, the rest of the girls, especially the freshmen and sophomores who haven't stepped on a field at all since in high school, since, from 2 weeks ago. She's a big role model for those freshmen and sophomore, and the juniors, really. We have a big junior class. We're pretty much junior heavy as far as our starting lineup goes, but everybody looks up to our one. Her name is Olivia Kelm, and she's a really good kid, and everybody, the whole team looks up to her. So.
Coach, I'm curious to find out, being that Olivia is a catcher, and Anthony and I have brought this up on a number of occasions, how few catchers call the game exclusively. without any help from the coaches. Given the fact that she is a senior, has she called a game or so exclusively? Does she have enough knowledge of the pitching staff at Lakeview to call a game exclusively?
To be honest, no, really. As a coach, and you see this, and that's a great question. All head coaches believe differently, I guess. And you see on the college level as well, there's a lot of college coaches, or a lot of colleges in general, who have coaches that call pitchers for the catchers. The catchers have so much else going on as far as what they're responsible for during the game. I honestly feel like it's better for the team if the coaches call the game, at least in our standpoint this year. And I kind of feel the same way with my travel team because, it's our job as head coaches to put the team in the most successful position to win. And we feel that by calling the pitches for the catcher, for the pitcher, it makes us a better competitive team, if that makes sense.
One of the names that keeps popping up in the updates that I write about you guys when the game recaps, Maggie Pavlansky, who we know really well from the volleyball season, is really hitting well for you guys. 500 on the year, if my numbers are correct. I think 15 RBI, somewhere around there. Talk about what she has brought to your team. The sophomore, you said the young kids are doing well. So talk about her and what she brings to the team.
Yeah, to be honest with you, she, the biggest aspect that she brings to us is her versatility defensively. Like, she's a middle of the order bat. She's very aggressive at the plate. She's a fast, athletic kid. But her versatility defensively is what really helps us be able to move kids around. She's played first, she's played third, she's played outfield, and she's really our second or third catcher right now too. So she warms up pitchers. So her versatility is what really helps our team defensively right now a lot. And she obviously, like you mentioned, she's a real good middle of the order hitter. So.
Lakeview head softball coach Nate Schick joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Year in, year out, I guess it's ever since the NE8 has come to be this interesting conference. It seems like every sport we're always talking about how much depth there is in terms of quality teams, no matter the sport. And softball, it falls right in line with all the other sports, Coach.
Oh yeah, you're definitely right. It's a buzzsaw for sure, and like you literally have there's 3 or 4 teams in the Northeast State that absolutely could go to regionals or make a run at state in softball. You got South Range and D3. They're going to have a rough road. They're going to have a real competitive road to get out of this district with Ursuline. But I think the way the super districts work, I think 2 of them go to regionals. So, and then you got Poland, Hubbard, Girard, that are all really, really competitive too in Division II. So, that says a lot about the competitiveness of the conference when you have, that many teams that have the potential to go to regionals or state.
You brought it up a little bit earlier, and you do get to coach a travel team in the summer, the Lasers, and I got to follow you guys a little bit in the summer. What's that experience like to coach those players, and what was it like to get everyone to get on the field in the summer and to get those reps and to get a little bit sense of normalcy back into these players' lives in summer ball?
It was great for the summer just because we didn't have high school. So all of the girls, even all of my girls, every girl that you played, every kid you played, everybody was anxious to get on the field, even with the COVID, restrictions and everything. At that point, everybody was just ready to get out of the house. So it was really, really a positive summer just to be able to get the reps in for sure.
And now when we talk about you guys and where you're at right now, what are some things that, you want to really see your team improve on in the next couple of weeks as we gear up for tournaments?
We just want to keep making strides, man. We just want to keep getting better and hopefully put together a full, clean game. And like I said before, playing these competitive teams, hopefully our mentality, our emotions stay in the positive direction, and we hope to win a couple games, and hope to win a couple games at the in sectionals and districts. So.
Coach, is it safe to say that anything that happens this year is gravy in terms of the fact that next year you've got a crazy amount of soon-to-be seniors, and perhaps Lakeview is next year is going to be the best team that you have in comparison to this year? With next year's team, that given the fact you have more seniors next year, you're maybe 1 year away from being a really potential state caliber program?
Yeah, I would say it's safe to say on paper we definitely hope to be better, I guess, and we should be better. But you guys know as well as I do, especially softball is all about pitching, and the reality is we just there's a lot of good pitching in our conference. So I'm not saying our expectations are going to be limited, but the conference is going to be as competitive as this year, if not more, because there's a lot of pitchers that aren't going anywhere. And there's a lot of pitchers coming up that are going to keep those teams still competitive. So, yeah, we look to be better as long as our pitching holds up. Right now, I'm not saying we lack pitching, but there's other teams out there with more. Let's put it that way.
And we know that as a head coach, you get the interviews, you get the responsibilities in the limelight, but we know that you don't do it alone. So we want to give you the time to highlight your staff and the people that help you do the things that you do, and how much they support you guys along the way.
Yeah, my varsity assistant, her name is Erin Stowe. She coached JV for us. Well, she was going to coach JV for us last year, and then COVID pulled the rug out from under us. So she's my varsity assistant. She's there for everything we do. Really, really helpful. Our JV coach, her name is Ronnie Titus. She's been with us for a few years, whether coaching a JV or coaching varsity assistant. Also awesome, and very, very, very good to have on staff for sure. So.
Well, Coach, all the best to you this year, and hopefully Lakeview makes a nice tournament run, and we start talking about Lakeview softball deep into this tournament this year. But I know Anthony and I, and I'm sure you're looking forward to 2022 as well, when you have your juniors 1 year older, and things might look even better than they are right now, which is pretty good, by the way.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate you taking the time to have me on. Appreciate it very much.
You're very welcome, Coach. All the best to you. Nate Schick, the head softball coach of the Lakeview Bulldogs, and I got to imagine he's enjoying the moment right now because Lakeview's playing well, but you can always look and go, I got all of these kids except for one coming back next year. Oh my goodness, am I going to have some fun next year?
And you can tell, like I told them at the top, this team is a lot better now than they were in game one. They're starting to use this season as maybe a springboard into next season. So like you said, everything they do in this season is just gravy because they know that they're coming back next year. They're playing with house money this year because next year's the year that all these players are seniors. You only have them for one more year. Let's do something. This year is like our juniors are technically sophomores after losing their sophomore year of high school softball. So even the juniors need reps and need experience. And they have a lot of sophomore. Maggie Pavlanti, we talked about her. She's a sophomore. She hasn't played on a varsity field yet. So getting everyone experience this year, knowing that you only lose one senior for next season, has got to be a feather in the cap of Lakeview. And they're playing pretty well right now. Like that Poland series, man, they were so competitive with the top team in the NE8. So you take one inning away, like he said. I think no moral victories, but the one thing you can take from that is saying if we get one inning better, then we're right there. And it's really easy to just get one inning better. One inning, we're right there. And they were pretty competitive with Fitch at -1 big inning. to the Falcons.
And here's the thing. We're talking about two elite programs, and they're that close. So you're not going to be playing those elite programs every single round of the tournament. So I think that Lakeview could do themselves really, really well come tournament time if they play to their potential. And then when they play a Poland or someone of that stature, play 7 strong innings, and maybe, just maybe, you pull off an upset and go a little further along into the tournament.
And I still wouldn't be surprised if Lakeview ended up taking 1 out of 2 with, South Range or Hubbard later in the season. And really, I mean, I know those two teams are already chasing Poland, and the odds are slim that they'll chase them down with Poland being ahead by 2 games. But like I said before, if they have any hope of catching Poland, they have to win out. And Lakeview's the team that I would circle on both their schedules to say, this is the one team that might, throw a monkey wrench in there. I wouldn't be surprised if they took 1 or 2 games from either one of those teams.
It'll be interesting to see what happens for sure. All right, we're going to take a timeout. Be back with more. It's a Thursday edition of Running Point presented. Not prevented.
Not prevented.
Not prevented. No.
It's
actually presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Oy, oy, oy. Back in a bit. Stick around.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
News doesn't stop after the sun goes down. Sometimes you just have to hustle to get it. At 21 News, no matter how far it is, no matter what it takes to get there, we're working to bring you the best stories and the freshest content at 11 p.m. with the context and clarity that makes it worth staying up for, no matter what time it is. 21 News at 11 with me, Erin Simonek, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 11, news that's worth your time.
WRS Wealth Advisors is the area's premier wealth and retirement specialist. With our combined 70 years experience and comprehensive wealth strategy, we assist our clients attain their goals. Call 330-965-0370 to learn more about our individual and corporate financial planning services, or visit WRSWealthAdvisors.com. Good luck, athletes.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, we go the extra mile for you.
By finding you the right vehicle at the right price.
And by being with you for every mile of your journey.
Now, we're going the extra mile for you with an additional $1,500 on your trade. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
For heating, cooling, and indoor air quality, the Mahoning Valley trusts MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning, offering worry-free repair, service, and installation. Call MP Vivo today for a free estimate.
MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. We're your energy-efficient experts.
If you're looking for a new Ford vehicle, why shop anywhere else but Tri-State Ford? Choose from our great selection of new Ford models. Plus, we've got you covered with our exclusive Tri-State Ford Advantage. It includes a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty with your new Ford. Come see why so many customers from the Tri-State area buy their new Ford at Tri-State Ford.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Points presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Ron Pochester with you alongside Anthony Hardwig. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business. 330-886-0813. That's 330-886-0813 with you till 3 o'clock, at which time running Power Hour will take the place of Running Points. There you go.
It's been a rough day.
Yeah, it's been an interesting day to say the least. We want to thank Coach Kernan and Coach Schick from Ursuline and Lakeview, respectively, for being on the program today.
Also, thanks to Paul Kusick for calling in on the fly after that news about the high school football playoffs came up. You know, we were able to get him in a hurry, and it was great to hear from him because he represents one of the first 4 schools at YSN. So it was nice to give Crestview that opportunity to talk about their program and their football season when this news broke. So thank you to Paul Kusick for being able to call on the fly.
Yeah, and obviously the OHSAA coming out with the news that broke before we went on the air, and that is, in case you're just tuning in and you have not heard, the OHSAA has expanded the playoffs. Now, it's not going to be the top 12 seeds as it was supposed to be or rumored to be. The OHSAA has now decided that it will be the top 16 teams in each region. Home field advantage, if you're a 1, 2, 3, or 4 seed, you will have home field not only for the first round of the playoffs, you would also have home field if you win round 1. You would have home field for the quarterfinals. Essentially what they're doing is they've moved the season back a week. This 2021 football campaign will start on Thursday, August the 19th, and Friday, August the 20th. The regular season will conclude on Friday and Saturday, the weekend of October 22nd and 23rd. The 6th round of playoffs will take you through December 3rd and 4th, about the same time. Actually, it would be the same time as a football season would normally last. So the first weekend in December, football comes to a close. We go right into the winter sports, which would be basketball. So I think that it's an interesting concept by the OHSAA. We are going to have a lot of blowouts. And, you know, obviously...
You better get used to the running clock rule.
There will be some blowouts. And you know, the other side, the flip side of this is, and I think that this will be the case, although Coach Kusick did make an interesting argument about it.
After this, Coach Kusick brought up a really good point. You know, we were talking about scheduling non-conference because you wouldn't be scared of not making the playoffs anymore. But he brought up the point that if you are one of those teams that now you're pretty confident you're going to make the playoffs, you don't want to bang yourself up by a tough non-conference schedule and then cost yourself a playoff spot, cost yourself a league championship. So there's a two-sided coin into the less fear of not making the playoffs, but also more confidence that you will make the playoffs and less willingness to hurt your chances to win a playoff game.
Agreed. And I get the argument of, well, you don't want to go too far up the food chain because you could, if you're overmatched and you wind up getting banged up, especially if you're a team that does not have the numbers,
Right.
it wouldn't make much sense. But if you do have the numbers and you're taking on a team that's not really overly above you enrollment-wise, it does make sense in that it's going to get you ready for the postseason. Now, the other part of that is, well, if you have a really good league, and I mean, Anthony, let's be honest, the Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference gray tier this year with the inclusion of Garrettsville Garfield, who will probably be the favorite in this division this year.
They're bringing almost everybody back.
Exactly. And they were a playoff team who, oh, by the way, beat Mooney in the postseason before losing to Crestview. I don't know.
Does that make them not the favorite? They lost to Crestview.
Well, Crestview lost a lot of kids.
I know, but
I honestly,
still, I think that would be a little bit of a straw and jab in the chest or Crestview to say they're the favorites, and I'm sure they're going to hear that from the outside media, not us, because we don't rank teams.
Sure.
But from the outside media, this is well, obviously Garrettsville Garfield is going to win the MVAC, and Crestview's going there like, we just beat them in the playoffs. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So that might be a motivating factor if that's how the outside media decides to do things.
Well, and I mean, up and down this division, Garfield,
and
Crestview, Liberty, Champion, up and down this lineup, you've got some pretty good football teams.
One thing I learned about Crestview last year is you don't want to take them off.
No.
Because after they lost to Champion, they played angry the rest of the season.
Yeah, they did.
And it was just like every hit was like, I'm mad at you because you insulted my mother kind of hits.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I said it every week during the football season. This team still looks angry about week 1. And we were sitting there in week 6, final game of the regular season. This team still looks angry about week 1.
Well,
they hold a grudge.
Yeah, well, and they shouldn't have lost that game. I mean, it was in a mosh pit, and they really believe they lost that game because of the weather conditions. But both teams played in the same
you
conditions.
Can't make that excuse when both teams are playing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
but they were mad about it.
Oh, they were mad.
They were very mad about it. And they were mad about it throughout the whole season.
Yeah.
Even that Garfield game, they looked like an angry football team.
They played really well angry.
I was like, dang. Whoever said you can't channel your anger?
Well, they did really well. But, when you look at that league, and we even brought it up with the Northeast State, you don't necessarily have to play a brutal non-conference schedule if you have a brutal league that's going to give you all kinds of competition. So from that perspective, I think that if you play good competition, beatable competition in the 3 non-conference games, you can still take care of business.
Pymatuning Valley might want to find some non-conference scheduling, because I can say this because they're not YSN schools yet. That conference in football is rough. Pymatuning Valley, I think, because they're always undefeated, and then they go in the playoffs, and it's like they're not ready for the playoffs because they run through the league in the conference they play in, and they're not at the playoff level. So maybe that's one of the examples I'm just thinking off the top of my head of teams that would really benefit from now not being scared of losing a playoff spot because their league is weak and they have to rack up wins just to make up for the weaker league. Now that they probably are going to get in the playoffs no matter what, Pymatuning Valley might be a team that can say, let's go play a bigger school in Division 3 or a low. Oh, I did the basketball thing again. Division 5, or maybe a Division 4 team that's on the lower end of the playoff scale, and measure our weight with them early in the season. That way we can really know what we have to improve on before we get to the playoffs.
Yeah, and there's year in, year out, you look at your league and you should pretty much know year in, year out how good your league is going to be. And if your league is going to be substandard, that's when you probably want to be able to schedule a little bit tougher non-conference schedule. This coming year in the MVAC Gray and Scarlet, I don't know if you need to really schedule And maybe in the Scarlet,
every Scarlet team has to play Springfield.
Yeah, but that's one team. I mean,
and that'll prepare you for the playoffs by itself.
Yeah, but I mean, other than Springfield and McDonald, maybe Western Reserve.
Whoa. Don't forget about Mineral Ridge here.
Yeah.
I know they're losing a couple of big playmakers, but Mineral Ridge is hard-nosed and one of those teams that I think is going to make noise in that MVAC this year.
It'll be fun. It'll
Jackson
be fun.
Milton as well, because Jackson Milton made a lot of noise last year, and they finally made that. Remember, we were talking the year before last. They started off 5-0, and they couldn't make that next step to compete with the big boys in the league. This year, they started 5-0 again, and they beat a couple of those bigger teams in the league to take that next step as a program. So, I expect Jackson Milton to keep making those steps.
I'll be real curious to see how many teams from each.
And Springfield
league.
Still Springfield.
Well, yeah, it's hopefully the third time is the charm.
Can they do it
for them.
again?
Hopefully, the third time is the charm. I mean, it's hopefully they bring home the gold.
I'll tell you one thing I won't be worried about that I was at the beginning of last season is them sleeping on any team in the MVAC because they came into They came into every game last year playing that team as if they were playing a state-ranked opponent. They never slept on an opponent. They kept respect throughout the whole schedule, and I never saw them go into a game lazy. And I didn't know if they would be able to do that coming off of the first state tournament run. And they absolutely did. So I'm not even worried about them staying focused this year.
No, I think they will definitely stay focused. I just hope that they're able to get the third bite of the apple. Hopefully they're able to, and it would speak volumes. Look, I mean, and we've said this: if you can get to a state semifinal in any sport, you have done something pretty amazing.
If you can get to it 3 times in a row.
Yeah, that's what legends are made of. Now, you get there. Let's see you win one of. If you get there that often, let's see you win the championship. And bring it home. And I say this as a fan of a team that had 4 bites of the apple and didn't get it done. There's a big difference between the grandest stage of sports and high school sports, but the common theme is win the championship.
Do you think Coach Guerrero opens up the football season in the summer with just a clip of that last play? And saying this is why we're motivated to do this season.
I don't know.
Hey, this is how close we were. This is where we are. Let's go finish the job.
I don't think anybody needs reminded of it.
Yeah, but it's one of those visuals speak louder than just coming and saying, "Hey, we were close."
No,
but I mean, you play that last play and you go, "We were this far. That we were right here, here," and that we have to move that extra inch this year.
Yeah.
And we win the state championship. That would be my rallying call.
Well,
move that extra. It reminds me of the speech from Any Given Sunday from Al Pacino, where he talks about I think the quote is, "We're gonna fight for that inch."
Yeah.
And I think Coach Guerrero should preach because they were inches away. I mean, right there.
Fight for that inch.
Fight for that inch.
That's
it's gonna be Springfield's motto this year.
Well, it'll be fun to watch that team play, and all the teams. When we get to football season, and we certainly don't will.
Let's not skip summer.
Yeah, we don't want to will past summer, and we certainly don't want to will past the spring sports because there is the potential of getting some hardware. No, there's no whoop about the It's not like we're going into a room filled with sub 500 teams and a person goes, I see nothing but untapped championship potential. 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, open for business. Speaking of untapped potential, the Cavaliers getting past the Bulls last night, 121-105. That was nice. J.B. Bickerstaff did not coach the game for personal reasons. He's supposed to be back for the Cavs' next game on the road on Friday. Greg Buckner, an assistant coach, he filled in, and boy, was this team on point in the first half. They were up by as much as 23, and they were burying Chicago. They wound up winning the game by 16. They snap a 5-game home losing streak at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. And, it's interesting. This team, and a lot of folks are a little disappointed in how the season has gone. You got to remember, this team has had an awful lot of injuries from key position players. There's just been a revolving door of guys going in and off of the injured list.
When you add that to the fact that they were already playing, they were going to be a lower rung team. They weren't going to be, and then you add all the injuries, it's going to get ugly really quick, and it has.
Yeah, it went sideways for a while, but hopefully they will. Hopefully they will be a much better basketball team when they get healthy. And I don't know if all the pieces are there to be a playoff team, let alone a decent playoff team. But I'm not so sure that I'm wanting to call this year a horrible year, because so many people were just injured, and all the injuries and all the bodies that were missing games. And I don't know if I can call this a bad year for the Cavaliers. I'd like to see more of these kids when they're healthy before you make the determination how many kids are good enough to be on this team long term, and who needs to be sent packing for more draft picks.
I think the Cavs going forward now need to look and say, okay, we have a playoff contending team with a roster that's healthy, a healthy roster.
Yeah.
What can we do to put some people back there where if we need some depth, it doesn't go from playoff contending to hot garbage really quick.
Yeah.
So I think their plan is going to be to find depth and to make sure that, if they lose some players, they can just kind of put players in and not worry about now our season is tanked because 2 people got hurt.
I must say, even though it's not something that you want to do on a yearly basis, perhaps having this team go into the lottery and potentially get a very high draft pick, it might not be the worst thing in the world for this team at this point, given the fact everyone was hurt. If the Cavaliers suddenly get healthy, oh, by the way, with the first or second or third pick overall in the upcoming draft, that might not be the worst thing in the world for the Cavaliers.
Speaking of drafts, we got a week
before
the NFL drafts, and we're going to have our, Thursday's our first softball, and we're going to have our coaches, but then in between our coaches, we're also going to be making some picks. They might be scattered around the whole show, so you can have to. So we make everyone, our captive audience, sit and watch the whole thing if they want to see our picks. But interesting thing, the more I think about it, when people ask me, what quarterback do you think is going to have the most success, I just keep saying, whichever one goes to San Francisco. Because they're one of the most stable bad teams I've seen in a while. They weren't bad the last 2 years because they were dealing with a shamble front office or complete instability in their franchise. They're bad because they got just devastated by injury.
Yeah.
And so as far as stability and the readiness to compete, San Francisco is like right there. If they get healthy, it's like right there. So whatever quarterback goes to San Francisco might be in a really good spot. So I'm going to keep saying that whatever quarterback goes to San Francisco, whether it be Fields or Lance, has the best chance to be successful in the league.
Well, let's not forget about the Alabama quarterback.
Yeah, Mac Jones, of course.
Yeah.
But because where you go is just as important as how talented you are. And I think quarterbacks throughout the history of the NFL have proven that to be true. So whoever goes to San Francisco is going to be put in a pretty good spot.
I would not be a bit surprised if Mac Jones goes to San Francisco, mainly because his accuracy just incredible accuracy.
I keep going back and forth on this because I said before, I think Kyle Shanahan likes the read option. And so, I mean, he was on staff with when Harbaugh was there, and he ran a offense for them, I think. And he really thrives with that quarterback that can also be mobile. So I think he might be leaning towards a quarterback that can't be mobile. But you bring up a great point that Mac Jones is just looking a little bit more NFL ready right now, and they need a quarterback right now. So they might lean more towards this guy, even though he doesn't quite fit the mold that Kyle Shanahan loves. We'll see. I think Justin Fields is a better fit for the system, but I think Mac Jones gives you a better chance to win. I know that doesn't really make sense, but that's just how my brain is processing it.
How weird would it be if the 49ers jumped up but then determined, Garoppolo really isn't that bad of a quarterback. Let's give him arguably the best player, non-quarterback player in this draft, and let's give him the tight end from Florida, Kyle Pitts.
That would be the surprise of the draft.
But it would make sense. Because everyone that I've heard talk about Pitts as a guy that's going to be on the lines of Kellen Winslow Sr., not his son, who was a hot mess in more ways than one. Kellen Winslow Sr., someone of that stature. I mean, that's a Hall of Fame player. You give Garoppolo someone that?
He's already got a tight end. So now, and they have arguably, it's 1 and 2, people flip-flop, the best tight end in the NFL.
Yeah.
In George Kittle.
I get it. I'm just
It's
wondering.
Not, it would be, you would get the best player, arguably the best player, quote-unquote, in the draft, but you wouldn't be satisfying a need of the team. And some teams make that choice where they just say, screw the needs of the team. When we're this high, teams still go after need, even though it's high up in the draft. And some teams say, we'll get our need in the second round, the third round, and the rest of the draft. But right now, since we're up this high, we have to get the best player available. And some would argue that it would be the tight end out of Florida. But, I think 49ers are looking for a quarterback.
Yeah, and obviously you can go with a guy that played FCS football in Lance, who does have a ridiculous amount of potential. There's
that word again.
I saw that kid play. He's pretty special. Unfortunately, a lot of scouts will sit back and say, well, look what.
I don't know if scouts are saying that. I know ESPN analyzers are saying that. I don't know how many scouts are knocking him for the schedule he played because they've seen that it doesn't matter with Carson Wentz. I mean, if you're ready to play, if you show them on your pro day that you do all the things that they're looking for, I think that washes away who's on your highlight tape. And that's where I think what Dominic Foxworthy said is a hot mess of garbage. But hey, he's paid to make things, to say things that rub people the wrong way. So
and I'm still of the opinion. Okay, Garoppolo really isn't that bad of a quarterback.
No. He wins games. But this is an argument that Alex Smith went throughout his whole career. He's going to win you games. Can he win you the big games and make you the big plays when you need them? And in the Super Bowl, unfortunately for Garoppolo, as cruel and as brutal as it is, he had a throw, didn't make it. Can he make it? Because the 49ers were one throw away from winning that Super Bowl, and he overthrew it. It's plain and simple. And sometimes the NFL boils down to something that cruel and that brutal.
Okay, but let me ask you.
And he didn't win the playoff games they won to get that. I mean, they won the playoff games with running and defense. And he threw the ball like 11 times.
No, he managed the game.
Which is another knock. And I don't buy into it because I love Alex Smith to death, and I think Jimmy Garoppolo is a guy that can get you there. It's just the question that's always going to be following him until he does it is, Can he make the big throws? Can he win the big games? Because if he can't, then we're going to try to find someone that can. And that's what happened to Alex Smith in both his stopping points. 49ers tried to find someone that could. They did in Cap. They got him to the Super Bowl. The Chiefs went and got Patrick Mahomes because they realized that Alex Smith, as good as he was, they felt like maybe he reached the ceiling in the divisional playoffs. And, then Patrick Mahomes came in and kind of proved them right.
I mean, my only answer to that would be, is there really, outside of Trevor Lawrence, who you're not going to get, Jacksonville's going to get, and outside of Zach Wilson, and I'm not even convinced Zach Wilson is the be-all, end-all, but a lot of people believe that he is, and unless the New York Jets have completely thrown the ultimate smokescreen, you're not going to get him either. So now that's leaving you with a guy that made his bones in FCS football, in Trey Lance, a guy that if you saw Ohio State play, you would not be convinced that Fields is the answer because he didn't do it consistently at Ohio State. There were times where it was...
I think the biggest knock on Fields is that he played for, 2 seasons at Ohio State? He didn't have the full body of work. He didn't have the he doesn't have the reps, quote unquote. And that's maybe why the consistency isn't there, because he doesn't have the reps.
And then you have a guy that is probably the closest to a National Football League ready, because he pretty much played for a National Football League caliber type of team in Alabama.
Is that you take away
all that talent.
Weapons.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Well, I mean, but
San Francisco has the weapons.
Thank you. It's not like you're going to Jacksonville or the JETS.
That's one of the knocks on Fields too. What happens when you take away all his weapons that he had? Well, San Francisco has some weapons that he can play with. So, I mean, Fields fits the mold that quarterbacks are turning into in this league a little bit more than Mac Jones does. Mac Jones is more of the old school pocket passer, not really going to move too much. And NFLs or teams are tending to lose their taste for those guys.
Man, I just look at that completion percentage and I'm like, damn, he puts that ball in the right where it's supposed to be all the time, and Fields doesn't. I understand he's got incredible athletic ability, and he'll get better. I mean, look, Josh Allen was not a very accurate passer in college, and look what he's done in the National Football League. I mean, that's a great, reason to not necessarily look at the college numbers as the be-all, end-all, but damn, I
think either way they go, that quarterback will have time to they're not getting them for this year. Let's get them because we need a quarterback now, because they still do have Jimmy G. And he can kind of, just like Alex Smith did with Patrick Mahomes, take him under the wing a little bit, show him the ropes a little bit if Jimmy G handles it the way he should and doesn't turn into a baby like Brett Favre when they drafted Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, but you know as well as I do that very rarely are you seeing rookie quarterbacks not play at all. I mean, Mahomes...
He played in the last game, and that's it, because the Chiefs were resting for the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, Mahomes didn't for pretty much all year long, and they had Alex Smith to back him up. Well, they threw Baker after Ty Taylor got hurt. They threw Baker into that. Hell, they had that because Josh Allen in from day one.
But who was Josh Allen coming in? Who was their quarterback when they drafted Josh Allen?
Well, prior to that, it was Tyrod Taylor, and then they traded Taylor out, and then it was going to be either Nathan Peterman or Josh Allen, and then they said, okay,
right,
we're gonna let you grow with him.
I think 49ers are in a different spot where they have someone who has proven he can win playoff games and he can win regular season games, and I don't think there's any ultimate pressure to say we need a new quarterback right now.
Yeah, but is there the temptation to sit back and go, oh, we can get a second or a third and stockpile our draft picks? to an already decent team and trade away Jimmy G and get an ageless veteran.
That'd be such a roll of the dice.
And I don't know, maybe reunite him with Bill Belichick in New England, who needs a quarterback.
That would suck for you.
Well, yeah, you think? I mean, I'm looking at the possibilities from a negative standpoint for Buffalo. I mean, but hey, it's
Jimmy G could go to Denver, which would suck for me.
Look, I think that the third pick is going to be fascinating to see what direction they go. But then the fourth pick with Atlanta is going to be so much fun because Atlanta may just sit back and if someone gets quarterback crazy, they may call them up and offer the farm because let's say either or if they take the kid from Bama or if the 49ers take Fields, the other one is still available at number 4. And who knows, maybe someone who needs a quarterback that believes Mac Jones is the answer or Fields or Lance is the long-term answer, they may be calling Atlanta saying, hey, we'll give you da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And Atlanta's like, yeah, all right. We'll have some fun with this.
There might be a team out there that is saying if the 49ers pick this guy and just this guy, we're going to jump on the other guy. Because we really believe in Mac Jones. And if they pick Justin Fields, then we have to go get Mac Jones.
Yeah.
But I don't believe there's any teams that are saying no matter who the 49ers get, we want to get the other guy. I think there's probably teams that say if this guy is there, then we'll make a move.
Okay, well then let me ask you: is that guy Jones or Fields?
Depends what team you're talking about.
Okay, because I think that either way,
I mean the Patriots.
Someone's going to be calling the Falcons.
Patriots would be Mac Jones because that just screams Bill Belichick.
Probably, and I just think that either way, someone's going to be calling Atlanta at 4. And offering a large amount of capital for, and Atlanta's going to be like, okay, we got a 36-year-old quarterback in Matty Ice who wants to play until he's in his early 40s, but we got to protect him. Now you can do that if you get a boatload of picks back and some extra capital in 2022 where you can start, putting the wall in front of Matty Ice. If you don't try to do it this year, you can invest in some of your offensive linemen in 2022 for the sole purpose of having him play until he's in his early 40s.
Aren't the Dolphins so happy they didn't pull the trigger on the trade with Deshaun Watson?
Oh my God, yeah, because here they are sitting at number 6, and they may very well get Kyle Pitts, and that'll piss me off beyond belief as a Bills fan because
How about Patriots trade up, get the quarterback, and then the Dolphins go and get Pitts?
Oh, exactly, and
Well, it might be hammered by pick 10 if that happens.
You know that if the Bengals are smart, they're going to go with Sewell from Oregon to protect Burrow. I mean, after the beating Burrow took last year, why would you do anything else but to protect your investment? You got to go with the guy that I truly believe is going to be as good or close to as good as Joe Thomas. And that's saying something. But this Sewell kid, holy crap, is this kid good. I would take him and okay, next at least 5 years minimum, we got this guy, and he's going to protect the backside of our franchise. Okay, now we can spend the rest of the draft putting some pieces around Mr. Burrow and go from there.
Yeah, I agree. You got Burrow last year. You got to take the steps to protect him a little bit because he was not. To say he wasn't protected last year would be an understatement.
He was getting destroyed. I mean, he was getting hit worse than a pitcher that throws a rise ball against the Ursuline softball team.
Good usage.
Well, I mean, it's a Thursday, and we this is a softball day, so I wanted to use the analogy.
Hit worse than a flat rise ball against the Ursuline lineup.
There you go. Speaking of rise balls and just ball in general, Indians are going to be taking on the Yankees, first of a 4-gamer at Progressive Field. Yankees are off to a god-awful start. Indians are at 500. We'll see. We'll see what transpires this 4-game series. This will be entertaining, to say the least, as the Tribe takes on the Yankees. It'll be Savali on the hill for the Indians, Herman on the hill for the Yankees. The Saturday game is going to be must-see. Garrett Cole on the hill for the Yankees, Shane Bieber on the hill for the Indians. That's going to be must-see.
Unfortunately, if you don't have cable, you can't see.
This is true. Pirates and Tigers are closing out their season.
Stupid Bally Sports.
Yeah, no kidding. They're closing out their series in Detroit. End of 6. Bucks and the Tigers are deadlocked at 2. Pirates scored 2 times in the top of the first inning. Detroit countered with single runs in the bottom of the second, as well as the bottom of the 5th inning for the Pirates. Keller he went the first 5 innings, 2 runs, 5 hits, 5 punch-outs. He did surrender a home run that was to Jones, who hit the dinger in the 5th inning that tied the ball game at 2. Pirates, let's see, 5 hits in the game for the Bucks. Frazier has 2 of them. RBIs by Reynolds and Gonzalez. So they're deadlocked at 2, top of the 7th inning from Detroit. Pirates are actually not bad right now, 8-10. I didn't expect them to be very good this year, and they're 2 games under 500 right now.
Unexpected. Isn't Seattle leading the AL West?
I believe they are. No. Oakland is now with an 11-game win streak. Oakland passed them. But Seattle's 11-7. Oakland's 12-7.
Like, Seattle.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Because everyone, Seattle was thought of as maybe one of the worst teams in baseball coming into this season.
They in Texas. And Houston has lost 9 of their last 10.
They're dead last, right?
Yeah, they're in last place, 4 games out of first place. And the Angels are 9-7, game and a half off the pace. Could it be we're going to actually see the Angels be a playoff team? Maybe we get to see the best player in the game play a postseason.
We'll have to ask Al, and maybe Al can help him a little bit like he did back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Pop culture reference.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe they can call up Steve Knox and get him back in the manager spot. There's a thing called talent. They don't have it.
Oh, Lordy. All right, Power Hour is coming up next. We'll do it again tomorrow, or at least I'll do it again tomorrow, noon to 3 on ysnlive.com. Make it a great rest of your Thursday.